Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
Sports fans, welcome back to Game Time, to pure spirit, to pure sport. Welcome back to high school sports.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back.
This is Game Time. This is Indiana high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
At first, me and my mom were struggling. I was trying to pay the bills and trying to take care of my mom at the same time. When I first heard that I can get paid for taking care of my mom, I was kind of skeptical because I had been doing it for so many years without pay. That's when I reached out to Passion to Care. I read all the reviews and I saw that they were #1 in the field. Passion to Care has really, really changed my life. Right now, I take care of my mom 24/7 thanks to Passion to Care.
You want a piece of equipment you can trust, one that's easy to use. No matter the size of the job, you want to create a feeling worthwhile, something you can use for every job. For over 60 years, Reynolds has been a community staple, ensuring our customers powerful implements, top quality care and service. You need something that's in it for the long haul. Visit Reynolds Farm Equipment, your hometown John Deere dealer, today at reynoldsfarmequipment.com.
Can't make it to the game? We've got your back. Just go to www.IndianaSRN.org and tune in to all of the live action or go to our on-demand service and relive your favorite moments.
Just working with our company, you're going to get to work with a lot of bright individuals.
Everyone is open and ready to help you, and definitely big on advocating for making sure that you succeed and reach your potential.
Everyone's goal is the same, to make the best products that we can for our clients and make sure that it is everything and more that it could be.
What's kept me here? Our culture. We're genuinely a very great group of people. Everyone's just always willing to lend a hand.
When I have a suggestion or a concern and I voice it, leadership actually hears me.
As a consultancy, every person has a role and has something to bring to the table. There's just a lot of opportunities here if you're up for the challenge.
Jump on board, be part of the fun ride, because we're going places.
Aspen Creek Grill, we are a from-scratch concept with comfort fresh food. You can expect a world-class experience on a great budget. We've got incredible specials, great service. Today's dish that we're going to highlight is going to be our Aspen Blue Sirloin. It is, again, our premium Black Angus certified beef, and we top that with a blue cheese crust. Again, everything that we do here is made from scratch, and it's no different from our steaks. We hand cut all our steaks in-house. So our team back there it's just an incredible team. Everything that they do, they take so much pride in. They put a little bit of themselves into everything that they do over here, especially since it is a made from scratch concept. We want everybody to come, visit us, enjoy some great food with some great service. Bring your friends, bring your family, come have some great food, have a great time with us with some of the best comfort scratch food.
Can I help you?
Yeah.
Everything that you need, we have here at the shop. Very unique. You order today, carry out tonight. That's our version of carry out.
All right, I'll take one of everything.
Oh, that may take a little longer. We'll have it for you tomorrow night.
I'll be back tomorrow to pick it up.
We'll be waiting for you.
Hello and welcome to Game Day. My name is Keith Myers. I'm the Vice President of IndianaSRN. We're glad that you joined us today. If you'd like to see more content just like tonight, just hit the donate button. Every dollar that you donate will go right back into more games right here on IndianaSRN, which means more games for you. It's IndianaSRN, where you always have a front row seat.
Hey, Indiana. Let's clear the air about vaping. Glue, rat poison, paint. We all know you'll find an e-cigarette vapor. Let's clear the air, Indiana. Don't puff this stuff. Visit don'tpuffthisstuff.com to join the fight and spread the word.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
Football weather has swept into central Indiana, and this time it may be for good. We have nearly perfect conditions at the magnificent Fott Stadium as the 1-6 Anderson Ravens prepare to take on the 2-5 Franklin Grizzlies right here on HCAC TV. Hi, everybody. Cruz Martin alongside my partner, John Lester. John, both of these teams had their fair amount of struggles this season. There's no doubt about it. But a great opportunity for these teams to take a step in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Franklin still trying to bounce back from that tough, hard luck loss last week to Mount St. Joseph. I know Coach Hensel trying to get his team right after that. And Anderson still looking for get something offensively here. They do struggle offensively, and hopefully Coach Coddington will be able to find something on that side there for Anderson.
Now, Anderson comes into today's game 1-6 on the season, 0-3 in HCAC play. They're coming off a loss this past weekend against Hanover. They've really struggled to find traction this season. They've lost 5 straight coming into today, but this is a good opportunity for them to try to get a signature win.
Chance for Coach Coddington to get that win and get themselves in the groove here in conference play for Anderson as we come up to the end of the season here. Still trying to find that rhythm for Coach Coddington here for Anderson here for moving forward, and it's a good chance for take this step today.
Now, that Hanover game was actually 2 weeks ago, but I should say that Anderson had a bye this past week, so you get an opportunity to rest some of your guys up, give yourself a little bit of a mental reset going forward. How do you see that playing in as a factor today for Anderson?
Well, first of all, you got a rivalry game, so you know what you're going to see out of your rival anyway. Having that extra week, I know, is going to be nothing but beneficial for Anderson. They probably have scouted that game with Franklin last week against Mount St. Joseph. Franklin, despite the record, is a very good offensive team. So Coach Coddington saying, all right, we know what we need to do, stop this, and they're a very good rushing attack as well. We got to stop this, and with having that extra week to prepare, I think is going to come in handy for Anderson.
Now, there's two players we're going to be looking at today for Anderson. First of all, Zach Montgomery, the quarterback, but also Julian Holgan, the wide receiver, all HCAC second team last season. He led the conference in receptions.
Hogan is a good, as well as Gabe McGuire there on the receiving edge as well, and we're going to see Zach Montgomery. He's had his share of problems this year. He has thrown 7 interceptions, so he just has not been able to find that traction with his receivers. Hopefully today he can find that. Gabe McGuire is going to be a big factor in that here today.
Ravens under head coach Jonathan Cottingham. He's still seeking his first HCAC win with the Anderson Ravens. He is 0-10 all-time in HCAC play. He'll try to change that narrative today. We'll take a quick step aside, and whenever we come back, we'll be talking Franklin Grizzlies football when we come back here on HCAC TV.
At Morales Group Staffing, we are all about building better futures. And during these times, we are working hard to put people to work. We are now hiring for hundreds of jobs with pay up to $17 an hour. Visit our website at moralesgroup.net or text JOBS, JOBS, to 317-472-7600 to apply now and get hired today.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
Welcome back to HCAC TV. We're here at Fott Stadium as the Anderson Ravens have traveled to take on the Franklin Grizzlies here on this first Saturday of November 2024. It's time to talk about the Franklin Grizzlies. They come into today's game with a 2-5 record, a 1-2 conference mark, and they are coming off probably one of the toughest losses that you could fathom against the top-ranked team, at least in the HCAC play, Mount St. Joseph this past week.
Franklin, they're taking that late lead, thinking they have got this win against the top-tier Mount St. Joseph, and then Mount St. Joseph just drove right down the field and scored just to put in Franklin there. But, yeah, tough loss there. Coach Hensel trying to get his team regrouped from that. That's about as tough a loss as you can get. Franklin does have a great running back, which we have a backstory here with as well today for Garrett Cora.
46-43 was the final score last weekend. The big question, how is this team going to respond? I think that's what everybody's going to be looking at. How do they respond against Anderson today?
It's not going to be easy, if they've had a week to get over that Mount St. Joseph loss. It's probably still sticking with them a little bit, but you got to put it in the past, look forward, and looking at Anderson, it is a team that they think they can have success on the offense against. With Anderson struggling on the defensive side as they do, Franklin is looking at that saying, yeah, we might be able to put the offense together here today.
Kairos, the quarterback, getting to start today. We already mentioned Garrett Cora's name, and you mentioned there might be a couple of records on the verge of being broken today.
Yeah, Cora just 91 yards away from breaking the career rushing record at Franklin College set by Rick Etienne back in the 90s.
And we'll take a quick step aside for the national anthem here on HCAC TV.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
At Morales Group Staffing, we are all about building better futures. And during these times, we are working hard to put people to work. We are now hiring for hundreds of jobs with pay up to $17 an hour. Visit our website at moralesgroup.net or text JOBS, JOBS, to 317-472-7600 to apply now and get hired today.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
HCAC TV is brought to you by Reynolds Farm Equipment. Reynolds Farm Equipment is a leading equipment dealer since 1955. Passionate Care, delivering care with more than 24 years of experience. Boilermaker Local 374. Boilermaker Local 374 represents highly skilled, highly motivated workers in field construction and metal fabrication throughout the state of Indiana. Wheeler Mission. For over 125 years, Wheeler Mission has been a pillar in the Indianapolis community. Bertner Electric, your trusted electrician partner since 1986. The Morales Group, we're in business to create a better future for you and your family. The Drumstick Dash, looking to work some of that Thanksgiving type of fan, I believe I pronounced that right. Join Wheeler Mission in Broad Ripple Village for the 2024 Drumstick Dash on the morning of November 28th. And by the IndianaSRN Sports page. Follow the sports page every day with updated news from coast to coast. Log on at IndianaSRN.org and click on our tab. Coin flip going on at Franklin. John, did I pronounce that right? Did I get that right?
I think it's tryptophan. You were close enough.
Tryptophan.
Yeah.
I'm no doctor, but thankfully John Lester, my partner here off to my left, has that pronunciation right. We have the coin flip going on between Franklin and Anderson as we just had the national anthem, and we're about ready to get things underway. John, let's talk quickly as the coin flip occurs about some of the keys for these teams going into today's game.
Well, going here and here, Anderson, they've not been able to find it. This is a team that averages less than 200 yards offensively on the season. Coach Coddington, as the season's gone on, they just haven't been able to find that offensive rhythm. Can they find something that gels offensively here in the last month of the season to give them a little bit of positive going forward? For Franklin, we talked about Anderson not being a good offensive team. They also give up about 400 yards a game. So Franklin is going to be able to, I think, exploit. They're going to try their best to exploit that early on, put Anderson in that early deficit that they faced so many times this year.
Anderson wins the coin toss. They have deferred to the second half. And so that means that Franklin will be getting the football to begin this game.
I know you ought to see a lot of teams defer on the coin toss, but with Anderson winning the toss, I thought maybe you'd take the football first, try to get yourself that offensive rhythm, and maybe jump out to an early lead, which is something they hadn't been able to do this year, but they do indeed defer here.
Ken Anderson comes into today's game with a 1-6 record, 0-3 in conference play. That's 6th in the HCAC. As for Franklin, 2-5, 1-2 in conference play, 5th in the HCAC conference this season.
We were mentioning right before going to that break, Garrett Cora, 91 yards shy of breaking this career rushing record at Franklin. That was back Rick Etienne back in the 90s, and also just needs 2 touchdowns to tie the career touchdown record. So a couple records could be broken here today, Cruz.
Beautiful afternoon here in Franklin. Temperatures in the mid-50s. Seems as though there's not a cloud in the sky. Picture perfect football weather here in the first weekend of November. Anderson will kick this one away, and Franklin will take it back the other direction. Kick is up, and we are underway. Ball taken inside the 10. Out to the 20, cuts across to the 30, now out to the 40-yard line. A good return for the Franklin Grizzlies. On the return, Braden Wilkins.
A good starting field position here for Franklin. Now we're going to see Kai Ross, one of these dual threats. He's also the team's 3rd leading rusher. So let's see how Franklin plays this offensively here.
This will be our first look in the afternoon for Kai Ross, the quarterback. And, of course, we mentioned already Garrett Cora, the star running back who has the opportunity to set a couple of new Franklin College football records by the time the day is out. Again, just needs 91 yards for the school record for rushing yards. He's going to get a nod right here. And he lost the football. Anderson gets the turnover. First play of the game. Garrett Cora gets the nod. And the Anderson Ravens with a huge defensive stop. They deferred on the coin toss, and they get the ball back anyway.
There's a great start for Anderson. They haven't had a lot of good things to mill them this year, but this could be a great start for them. And this, as you see Cora here, and just losing the football right here. I don't know if he was hit. It looked like he just lost the ball there, and Anderson right there to recover on the plus side of the field.
Matt Shams was the individual who hopped on that loose ball for Anderson, who now has a short field to work with from the Franklin 41. First look of the day at Zach Montgomery. He'll air this one out to the sideline. It's caught. Was it in bounds? And they say it was. Nice catch by Adam Dunson.
And right after the turnover, you see Montgomery going right for the long ball right there in a 28-yard strike on first down, and already Anderson in the red zone.
How quickly the tides have turned early on in this game. Montgomery, pressure coming. He escapes. On the run, throws it, and just shy of the end zone, it looks like. And that's exactly where they're going to mark him. It was Julian Hauglin making that grab.
So 2 for 2 early on after the turnover for Montgomery, and Anderson on the verge already. We're going to have a discussion here. I thought I saw the ball come out, and I don't know if that's what this discussion is.
I think that Hauglin would probably have had to have controlled it all the way to the ground for it to be considered a completion. And that might be what the discussion is about, John. We're going to get an opportunity to get a second look at it. And they're calling it a touchdown.
Okay, so
it was right at the goal line.
I wasn't
guess
sure
that was the discussion, is whether he was short or not.
Yeah, and actually I thought the discussion, I wasn't sure he made quite the football move before he went out of bounds there, but not only did he make the football move, they're saying he crossed the end zone there.
So a touchdown for Anderson. They won the coin toss. They deferred to the second half, and on the first run of the game, Garrett Cora fumbles the football, and Anderson marches 2 plays, 41 yards of the end zone. And they score with 14:19 to go here in the first quarter. This is a team that has struggled to put points on the board all season long. Corey Layton will have an opportunity at the extra point. And that one right down the middle. We'll take a quick step aside. Anderson with a quick start here on HCAC TV.
Are you an active athlete looking for enhanced performance, comfort, and recovery? Then Skins is the perfect choice for you. Our revolutionary sports compression product provides better oxygen flow in your muscles, helps reduce fatigue and pain from intense physical activity, allowing athletes to push their boundaries and perform better.
Skins helps keep everything, including you, on track.
So don't wait any longer. Get your Skins now and experience unbeatable performance.
Take your game to the next level with Skins.
They say nice guys don't finish first. So maybe it's time to reconsider what it means to be first.
It's about being your best, but knowing you could be even better.
It's being present, but respectful of history.
You sure you want to make that move?
It's donating something more valuable than money.
It's believing in yourself and something bigger.
It's coming from different families, but treating each other like brothers.
It's not just being a man, it's being a Mason.
HCAC TV is brought to you by Reynolds Farm Equipment. Reynolds Farm Equipment is a leading equipment dealer serving farmers, homeowners, landscapers, and commercial contractors in and throughout the state of Indiana. Nothing runs like a deer. Give us a call today at 317-849-0810. Anderson will kick it off already for the second time today. And, oh, no, the ball's going to roll back into the end zone. Franklin hops on it. And it's going to be a touchback, I believe, but Franklin coming out of the gate a little bit wobbly so far today, John.
Yeah, a couple of big mistakes right there. That was almost the big one there, but luckily there was no full possession. That's why you could just recover there for a touchback. But now Franklin's going to be backed up inside their 20-yard line here. But kudos for Anderson here, you know, getting the early turnover and driving down the field and getting the quick score. They have faced multiple score deficits early in games this year. Now they have a lead in this one. Let's see if that can fire them up on the defensive side.
Anderson's offense averages 6.7 points a game. They have already surpassed that within the first 50 seconds of this afternoon's game. Garrett Cora trying to redeem himself after that opening play fumble that ended up giving Anderson short field position, and he gets a couple of positive yards there.
Cora almost able to break that last tackle there and getting a nice pickup on first down, as you said, wanting to redeem himself from that early mistake there.
Getting less than 100 yards away from setting a new record at Franklin. Here's a throw over the middle. It's caught and into the open field for Franklin. The catch by Malachi Joy as he cuts his way down to the 30-yard line before he's pushed out of bounds. And maybe the Grizzlies starting to wake up here, maybe just a little bit tad later than they were hoping.
Yeah, nice answer there on these first two play. Kai Ross finding his receiver there for a big gain here, and Franklin driving down inside the 30-yard line, 29-yard line here on first down.
And we mentioned that record that Garrett Cora could potentially set, 91 yards from the all-time rushing lead, 2 touchdowns from the all-time career touchdown lead. He gets tripped up inside the 15 as they go to him again. And so far, he's making up for his mistake early on.
Yeah, almost able to break another one there, and that would have been 6 points if he was able to get by that last tackler. But, yeah, nice response here by Franklin, driving it into the red zone.
Cora, 9 touchdowns on the season. He'll get the nod right here and stays on his feet for a couple of yards, maybe 1, potentially 2, before he's dragged down to the ground.
Anderson bringing it that time, sends in the run there for Cora, able to limit the damage there to a 2-yard gain on first down.
So Franklin's drive started on their own 20. They are now down to the Anderson 14 in only a matter of less than 5 plays. Ken Anderson won the coin toss and deferred to the second half, forced a fumble, and scored in 2 plays for a team that averages less than 7 points a game. Franklin trying to notch it up. The handoff. I believe it was Cora again getting the nod. And it was. Only about a yard or 2.
We're going to keep track of Cora's yardage. That's 24 now for Cora, so now just 67 away from that record at Franklin College.
Second down and 9 opportunity upcoming for the Grizzlies. First down marker placed at roughly the 5. Make it 3rd and 8, excuse me.
Sorry, it looks like Anderson might be bringing it here.
On the pass over to the far side, it's caught. That was Matt Neely, the tight end, making the grab. And they're going to give him a first down, so 1st and goal upcoming.
Nice job there by the receiver, knowing right where that first down marker is and keep the chains moving. And Franklin, a 1st and goal, trying to finish this off.
Franklin knocking on the door of the end zone. Off to a little bit of a sluggish start. But, John, this second drive has looked very impressive.
Yeah, great job. And a great answer for Franklin here on this drive. See if they can finish this off.
Ross for Cora. And he gets stuffed at about the 5-yard line. There is a flag.
Well, you can definitely tell the Anderson defense is focused on stopping Cora as much as they can in this one. That's their main focus right here. See what this flag's about.
And an offsides penalty called. So that'll be half the distance to the goal. Franklin now only 2.5 out instead of 5.
And you think we might see Cora get the ball again here?
Something tells me we might. Man in motion. The handoff up the middle. Cora to the end zone. And he's in for the touchdown.
Yeah, I had a feeling he'd get him to finish this off here. And for a nice response for Franklin after that early mistake to be an extra point away from tying this game.
Garrett Cora, his first touchdown of the day, his 10th of the season. He is now 1 touchdown shy of that 53 touchdown record set by Kyle Linville. One of 2 records that he has the opportunity to shatter here this afternoon. Kick on the way, and it is good. And we'll head to break. 7-7. Franklin strikes back after Anderson strikes early here on HCAC TV.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
Franklin ready to kick this one away. Tie ball game. Less than 5 minutes in here on this beautiful Saturday from Fott Stadium. Ball received inside their own 5. Still bouncing off a couple of tackles. He's still on his feet. Running it back the other way, Dietrich Johnson out across the 45-yard line. A couple of positive signs for Anderson early on in this game, John.
Yeah, great job there on special teams and a great kick return to give Anderson excellent field position on their second offensive series of this game. Took advantage of the first time.
Another look at that Dietrich Johnson return inside his 10, down near the 5. Was able to get yards after contact.
It looked like they were going to have him stopped right there just across the 20-yard line, but the second effort gets it all the way up near the 45.
44-yard line is where they're going to mark him. 10:46 to go here in the first half. Already a couple of haymakers thrown by both of these. Say 2 weeks ago, they had a bye this past week. Had a terrific game. In terms of reps, at least, 18 of 37 for 119 yards. Didn't have any shortage of opportunities to throw the football. Nice run right there by Travis Moon, getting out near the opposite 45 of Franklin.
Well done there and moving the ball into Franklin territory and moving the sticks here for Anderson on first down.
Montgomery, the quarterback, making his 4th stop in his collegiate career. Began his career actually with Franklin, but did not play a single game in a Grizzlies uniform. And transferred to Alberta, and then St. Mary's, both of those colleges in Canada, before ending up with the Ravens. Nice pitch over to Hauglin, trying to turn the corner, and he's not going to get very far. And a nice tackle over on that far sideline. Makai Reed on the stop.
It tried a little bit of trickery there on the trick play, but Franklin didn't buy it, and no gain there.
Flag is on the field. This might be a late hit. No, they're going to call it holding. And that'll move the spot back. So good sign for Franklin. Not so much so if you're Anderson.
Yeah, that's another thing that's plagued Anderson on the year is the penalties, and starting on this one here, moving them back on their own side of the field now.
Well, Jonathan Coddington, the head coach for Anderson, can't be happy about that. He's still seeking his first win in the HCAC with the Anderson Ravens in his 5th year, I should say his 2nd year. 1-16 record overall. That win came earlier this season against Oberlin on the road, 20-6. Quick pass incomplete. Good coverage by the Grizzlies.
Yeah, that great coverage right there, and worth a 2nd and long here situation for Anderson. And the way this team struggles offensively, this is not the ideal situation that you want if you're an Anderson fan.
Keegan O'Neill on the coverage. That'll bring up 2nd down and 20.
I look for maybe Franklin having Anderson backed up here, maybe going to bring the house on this play.
Hauglin in motion on the outside. Here comes pressure. Reed in pursuit on the throw and into no man's land, out of play, as Montgomery had to get rid of it.
Yeah, just had to get rid of that there, nowhere to go, and now a 3rd and long situation for Anderson.
John, you'd have to think that Anderson at least wants to get a little bit of positive yardage, so that way, in case they do have to bring out the punting unit and try to pin Franklin as far back as they can.
Yeah, you just do what you can here. There's not a whole lot of plays in the playbook for 3rd and 20.
They'd have to get down to the Franklin 35-yard line. They sit at their own 45. Montgomery with a 5-receiver set, so they might go long here. Quick throw Hauglin on the reception. Positive yardage. He gets about 10 right there. The senior from Richmond, Indiana, getting back to the original line of scrimmage.
Well, they did get up about 10 yards there, but on a 3rd and 20 and a screen pass, I'm not sure I like that play call there, but still got yourself room for the punter there to give him a little bit more room now.
So the punting unit will come on. It seems to be Elijah St. Pierre back to kick this one away for the Ravens. Snaps back. Kick is up in the air. Fair catch signaled for. The ball bounces into the end zone for a touchback. And it was going to be a really tough angle for St. Pierre to try to keep that one in play. Nonetheless, Franklin does get bumped back. And that's where the Grizzlies will take over.
Do have an update on other HCAC action today. Bluffton at Hanover and has grabbed a quick 6-0 lead on the road there.
That last drive for Anderson, 6 plays, they only gained a single yard. That can't be right. 6 plays, 11 yards. That's what it is. Intercepted! Ball is intercepted. The Ravens with the football. Running it back to the end zone. Touchdown!
I think I saw a flag go down, so this may come back on the run back, but I don't think the quarterback even saw the defender right there.
Tone Hurd jumping in the place of that ball. If this stands, Anderson with a terrific start, but again, that's only if this call stands. So Anderson will have the football. It was a block in the back. Tone Hurd with the interception to give Anderson the ball back. Second turnover of the day for Franklin.
Yeah, and that's one thing that has plagued Franklin. They came into this game with 14 turnovers on the season. You can add 2 more to that total here in the first quarter. As I said, I don't think Ross even saw the defender right there. And again, give it up. Very good field position for Anderson off the turnover.
So Anderson gets the ball back. They are at the Franklin 30 with 8:38 to go in the first. Again, this is a team that averages 6.7 points a game. They scored a touchdown within the first minute of the game after forcing a fumble from Garrett Cora. They drove 2 plays, 41 yards, I should say, to the end zone to strike first in this game. They force another turnover. Now they have an opportunity to go up on Franklin.
Yeah, nice stop there by Franklin on first down. Limit that run to no gain there on first down. Now it's important for the Franklin defense, buckle down and hold them to a field goal opportunity if you can.
Montgomery right back on the field. Under center. Play action. Pressure coming. He gets rid of it. A nice quick pass for a little bit of positive yardage. Nothing too substantial as the catch was made by Dietrich Johnson. I'll bring up 3rd down and relatively long but also manageable.
Yeah, you saw Franklin there after the completion, made sure the receiver did not get any farther at all, and we're looking about a 3rd and 8, and you look where they are on the field, this might be 4-down territory as well here. We'll see how they play this.
Big 3rd down opportunity for Anderson's offense. Play action, Montgomery dancing around, has some daylight, throws on the run, and it is batted down. Luke Lyons there to bat that one into the turf. And that'll bring up 4th down and 8.
I was afraid he would cross the line of scrimmage there when he got rid of that ball.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
And now let's see what they do. You're looking at about a 46-yard field goal from here. So let's see how Anderson will play. Looks like they're going to keep the offense out there.
And you don't go for it and make it. Or I say you make it, don't. Or you go for it and do not make it. It's not going to be the worst thing in the world in terms of field position for Franklin. It wouldn't be ideal. And nonetheless, you got to have some guts sometimes to get what you want. Montgomery over the middle, and it's picked off. Intercepted. Franklin with the football. Hayden Durnill on the interception. Still on his feet. And finally out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Franklin gets the takeaway.
Well, just like on the other end where Ross didn't see that defender, I'm not sure Montgomery saw that defender there either because there was nobody else in the area of that throw. And take a look at it here. He had defender deeper down, but went underthrown. Nobody but the defender right there for that interception for Franklin.
Third interception of the year for Hayden Durnill. The 6-foot junior from Grandview, Indiana, putting Franklin in business, knocking on the door of Anderson territory.
So the Franklin defense does the job and holds Anderson off the board after the turnover. Now let's see if Franklin offense can take advantage and finish it on the offensive side.
HCAC TV is brought to you by Morales Group Staffing. We're in business to create a better future for you, for your family, and for the community we share. We can match you with the right career or right hire, or hire the right candidate for your company. Call us today at 317-472-7600. So Franklin in business. There must have been some kind of penalty because they moved it back to the 32-yard line. They went out of bounds at the 47, so probably a block in the back or something of that nature. Nonetheless, Franklin gets the football back. Quick reception there by Owen Wright. And he gets out to about the 42, maybe the 43. They're going to mark him just short of the first down marker.
Owen Wright, the team's leading receiver. That's his 38th reception now on the season and a good 9-yard pickup on first down. Actually, they're going to give him the first down, looks like.
So a 10-yard reception, they move the chains. Quick snap, Ross hands it off. Cora can't find a hole. He does get positive yardage and fights his way for about 8 or 9 yards as he gets closer and closer to breaking that record for most career yards on the ground. And that number 3952, Rick Etienne, back in the 1990s, setting that record. And a 30-plus year record could be broken this afternoon. Not to mention that his next rushing touchdown would tie that record as well. Throw over the middle and no flag, I believe. The intended receiver, Malachi Joy, pleading for a penalty flag. Doesn't get it.
Yeah, Joy wanting the flag there, but that looked like good coverage for Anderson. I didn't think there was anything there that warranted a penalty. That looked like just good defense by the Anderson defenders right there.
Bring up third down and short. The snap, the handoff. Cora bullying his way forward, gets the first down, I believe. Or are they going to mark him short? That's exactly where they're going to mark him short. You can see the official there on the top of your screen. It'll be 4th down and 1.
And definitely going to go for this here.
It almost seemed foolish not to. Quarterback sneak. He might have been held back.
I don't think he got it.
No, they mark him short. Anderson forces their 3rd turnover of the day. First it was a fumble recovery, then an interception, and now they make a 4th down stand on 4th and 1.
Great job here. Anderson defense just absolutely nowhere to go right there for Kai Ross. And a great job by the Anderson defense on a 4th down stand.
How about the fight that we're seeing from this Anderson team so far today? 3rd forced turnover of the afternoon.
Getting great field position once again.
Quick pass near side, caught by Hoagland. Bouncing his way forward into Franklin territory. And the Ravens continuing to try to finally get that first coveted HCAC win this season. It'll be the first under Jonathan Coddington. And they've gone 1-16 in the last 2 years, 0-10 in conference play. And what a day this would be if the Ravens could squeak one out. Obviously still early on in the game, but the Ravens sending a message, hey, we're here to play. Hand off on the run. It looked like it was Mark Wayne Taylor on the run. Doesn't get very far.
So now you're going to maybe with a 3rd and about 5 here for Anderson. Do they stick with the running game, or Montgomery's had somewhat success here passing so far in this game?
There's Travis Moon on that last run. 3rd down and 5. It looks to be about 3rd down and 4. Ball placed at the 45 of Franklin. They have to get to the 41. Montgomery Scanning. Trouble coming. He escapes on the run. First down and more. Great heads-up play by Zach Montgomery to extend that play.
Great job by Montgomery. Saw there was absolutely nothing downfield and saw he had a little bit of room to take it himself, and first down to move the chains for Anderson inside the 40-yard line.
He got the yardage, and then 2 insurance yards on top of that. 1st and 10 from the 39. Clock under 4 minutes here in the opening quarter of play. 4 receivers set. On the run again. Caught near side. Adam Dunson on the reception.
That's the 6th completion for Montgomery here in the first quarter, having one of his better passing outcomes here so far in this game right now.
.325 and ticking here in the first. Anderson, their defense has done most of the damage, holding Franklin not only to 7 points, but also forcing 3 turnovers. A fumble recovery, an interception for a pick 6, and then a stop on downs. Quick pass, caught. Looks to be Hoagland trying to fight his way forward. He might be a yard or 2 short.
And nowhere to go there for Hoagland, and now it's 3rd and very short for Anderson.
So big opportunity for Franklin to try to turn away the Anderson march up the field. Well, the Bulls have locked their horns. There's no doubt about it. Both of these teams have shown some promising signs, but again, the more shocking storyline so far is the way that Anderson has come out of the gate strong. The handoff, and Franklin gets one back right there. Moon had nowhere to go as Brock Thurman got into the backfield.
Well, Franklin was bringing it right there, and Moon nowhere to go, and now you're 4th down and 5. They passed on a 46-yard field goal attempt before, so I would think they're probably going to leave the offense out again. This would be about 52 yards.
It's a real numerical way of saying that's a long way. Anderson going to keep their offense on the field, John. You hit the nail on the head. And we'll see what the Ravens can pull out of their hat here. 3 receivers set. Now Dunson in motion. Trouble coming. Montgomery off his back foot, had nowhere to go with it. And Franklin will turn it over. I should say they'll turn Anderson over on downs.
No, back-to-back turnover on downs for the Franklin and Anderson defense here to keep this game 7-7. Defenses have really answered after those first 2 drives where both teams scored the touchdown. Defenses have really picked up since that point.
So Franklin turns it over on downs. Then Anderson, I'm sure not to their liking, returns the favor. So we're still knotted up at 7 as Franklin retakes the field. 1:41 to go. Kairos back on the field looking to pass. He escapes on the run. Flag flies, ball flies upfield, and caught by Cora. On the run inside the 35 before he's taken out of bounds. And we'll see if this play gets drawn back. The flag did come from the backfield. We'll see who the guilty party is. Franklin already looks like they know who exactly it's going to be.
Oh, the way where the flag went down, that was more going to be an offensive hold, and sure enough, that's what this is here.
And so annul the long pass to Garrett Cora. Franklin gets moved back an additional 10 yards. Now they're pinned inside their own red zone. Or I should say just outside their own red zone, as they'll mark it at the 24-yard line.
Having trouble getting the ball set here, it looks like.
Now we're ready to go.
Clock issue look like.
Well, maybe they're just trying to enjoy this weather. The handoff, Cora up the middle, turned back, had nowhere to go. And so all that delay for maybe a yard, maybe two.
Boy, once again, the Anderson defense just focusing on Cora there and limiting him as much 36 yards now for Cora in this first quarter.
Again, coming into the game, 91 yards away from setting the new career rushing yards record at Franklin College, a record that has stood for 30 years or so. Pass over the middle's up in the air and intercepted again. Second interception of the day for the Anderson Ravens. Covante Harrell drew that one in, and the Ravens are in business in Franklin territory.
Forcing the third Franklin turnover in this first quarter, this Anderson defense, as we take a look at it again here. Just off his receiver's fingers, and they're right there for the pick for the defense for Anderson. And again, they're starting on the positive side of the field.
Owen Wright, the intended receiver, but it ended up in the hands of Covante Harrell. And that is the fourth turnover of the afternoon here in the first quarter for Franklin. It's really hard to win games when you turn the ball over that amount of time. Montgomery in the gun. Looking to pass. Pressure comes again. We've seen him escape a couple of times on the run. He gets positive yardage, about 5 or so before he's ran out of bounds.
Great job again there by Montgomery, seeing he had nothing downfield, so getting what he could with his feet there and getting half the needed yardage on first down.
Clock continues to run. Although he got out of bounds, so I'm a little bit surprised the clock's still running, but nonetheless, still going. I guess they did spot the ball. Though obviously the clock running down at the end of the first quarter, not the most significant of problems to have. Obviously it depends on which side of the field. There might be certain advantages or disadvantages, but nonetheless, Anderson, barring a turnover, will still have the ball. Montgomery nearly turned it over right there. Ball was deflected up in the air, and Aaron Gomez, the center, nearly came down with it.
Boy, that's a pass from Montgomery. You cannot make that pass. Luckily for him, it just fell incomplete. That's one you just got to throw to the sideline there. That was asking for trouble on that pass, but luckily for him, just fell harmlessly incomplete.
Almost spoke it into existence for Anderson. They're catching their breath a little bit after that last scare. 10.6 to go here in the first. This will be the last play more than likely before we head to break. 3rd and 5. Franklin with an opportunity to force a 4th down situation for Anderson, I should say, coming out of the quarter break. Pressure coming. Montgomery. Throw is caught by Holgan. I believe he's across the marker. And he is. First down for Anderson as the clock runs out in the first quarter. What a start to this game. 7-7, Anderson and Franklin. While the score doesn't jump out at you, the way we got to this point does, as we'll return here on the other side of this break. HCAC TV, Anderson and Franklin knotted up at 7.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
HCAC TV is brought to you by Boilermaker Local 374. Boilermakers Local 374 represents highly skilled, highly motivated workers in field construction and metal fabrication throughout the state of Indiana. When you need a safe, dependable workforce for a new build, an upgrade, or facility maintenance, you can count on Boilermakers Union Local 374 to do your job right the first time. Welcome back to Franklin College at Fott Stadium. 7-7 the score after the first 15 minutes of play. Cruz Martin alongside John Lester as the Anderson Ravens have a first down and 10 situation from the Franklin 29. And John, they forced 4 Franklin turnovers in that first quarter. On the throw to the near side, ball caught. Adam Dunson on the reception. And Franklin continues to move the ball up the field. And this is an Anderson team that only averages 6.7 points a game coming into this game.
This is clearly the best. I like what I've seen out of Montgomery here so far. You know, he's passing for almost 100 yards, finding his receivers, and getting it done on the running does well for him.
Quick throw over the middle. Nice catch into contact. Hayden Bulmer on the coverage. And coming down with that reception was the tight end, Dietrich Johnson.
Well, you've seen Anderson pass on 2 field goals on 2 earlier drives. Now they have the ball in the red zone. Obviously, you'd like a touchdown here, but this is a situation you got to get some kind of points on this kind of drive any way you can.
The big news coming into this afternoon's game, would Garrett Cora break 2 school records that have stood for quite a significant amount of time? That quickly changed to, how is Anderson forcing these turnovers? And could they potentially get their first conference win in 2 years? Throw over the middle into trouble. And they about threw it away right there. Dunson, the intended receiver.
Ooh, another dangerous pass there by Montgomery. He had 3 Franklin defenders right there. Again, fell harmlessly incomplete. That's the second risky throw for Montgomery we've seen about the last 4 or 5 plays.
And Anderson over the last 2 years since Jonathan Coddington took over this program, 1-16 overall, 0-10 in HCAC play. And they have came out looking like a team with fire in their eyes. They have an opportunity to take their second lead of the afternoon as they are in the red zone. Montgomery with pressure, and he's taken down for a huge loss. Out now around near the 30-yard line. Devontae Brown getting into the backfield for the sack.
And Brown getting through right there. Absolutely nothing Montgomery could do right there. And now with this situation, this is probably a situation where you're going to have to bring your field goal kicker out.
We've seen Anderson be very wary of bringing their kicker out from time to time. 3rd down and long is the situation. Not a very good arithmetic student, but 3rd and 19. That's what we're going to go with here. Thanks to Greg, our director and producer, for crunching the numbers so I don't have to. Throw out to the far side. It's caught. Hoagland on the reception. Gets some positive yardage. Maybe got around towards the original line of scrimmage. Looks to be about 2 yards shy of that mark. That'll bring up 4th down and 12.
So this field goal attempt would be about 37 yards, and you're going to have to take the points here, I think.
You'd have to think.
Well, but they're leaving the offense out again.
Well, John, we thought wrong. Here we go. Anderson, 4th and 12. They have to get down to, it looks to be the 4 or 5 yard line, and now Anderson wants to talk it over. We'll take a quick step aside here on HCAC TV. Anderson with a decision to make when we come back.
Big play here for Mount Vernon. Hurdle looking right, now over the middle, fires, and it's in there for a touchdown. What a throw. Boy, what a stick, huh? Side out, back to the middle, and guess what? You want a point on the other side, you go to Taylor Lewis.
Here's Freeman. Has an opening shot. Score!
Stafford around a screen. Skip pass. Mays with 3. Mays drive. Floater up and in at the horn.
Hand off, and nice hole over the near side. 40, 35, 30. Block to the outside. 20, 15, 10, 5, and touchdown. That's a big one right there, and finally, somebody gets on the board.
Anderson going for it here on 4th down and 12 inside the Franklin red zone. Montgomery over the middle and almost picked off right through the hands of Hayden Bulmer, the defender. Nonetheless, Franklin forces the turnover on downs.
Great job again by Franklin, keeping Anderson off the scoreboard. Franklin is going to have to start this drive deep in their own territory, but again, the defense doing their job.
So Anderson turns it over on downs. Franklin will take over at their own 19-yard line. so far today for the Franklin offense. This is what the drive recaps have looked like. A fumble, a touchdown, an interception, a turnover on downs, and another interception. Needless to say, Franklin has really struggled to complete possession so far. And give credit to the Anderson defense for forcing those takeaways as well.
And that's one thing we were talking about before. This is an Anderson defense that gives up almost 400 yards a game, but they have really buckled down and held Franklin down in this first quarter. They obviously saw something on their bye week that they were able to. Saw weakness on Franklin.
2nd and 11 coming up. Ross throws it, and it was in the middle of no man's land. It looked like Owen Wright was a little bit behind on his route.
Yeah, I don't know. The receiver was, miscommunication on the route there or something. Yeah, there was nobody there. And now a 3rd and long for Franklin. If Anderson can get the 3rd down stop here, that will give an excellent field position.
12:03 left in the second here from Fox Stadium. Beautiful day here in central Indiana. 3rd down and 11. This would be a huge stop opportunity for Anderson. Deep in their own defensive territory. Ross steps up, has some daylight, looking to get rid of it, and has nowhere to go. He's brought down inside the 20.
And Anderson gets that stop they need to force a punt from deep in their own territory. Ross absolutely nowhere to go, or nobody open there at all. Great job again by that Anderson defense.
Siddiqui Traore, number 37 in that white jersey you saw just a moment ago, in there to help get that stop. Now forces a punting situation for the Grizzlies. Adam Guth on to punt. Snaps back, punt into the air. Solid kick, it hits the ground and takes a favorable Anderson bounce. Franklin's going to have to down this one, and they do. Around the 46-yard line in their own territory. So Anderson will take over with a short field, only 46 yards to march to the end zone. They've only found it once so far today. Should have been twice, but there was a block in the back on Anderson on a potential pick six opportunity. And so Anderson, who has yet to kick a field goal also today, and has gone for it every single opportunity they've had on 4th down, will try to tally some more points onto the board.
And if I'm not mistaken, this is the 3rd offensive possession they've had that starts on the positive side of the field for Anderson.
Again, those turnovers have been huge so far today. By the way, that last possession, only the 2nd of the day that Franklin has not turned the ball over. Montgomery, a keeper. And diving forward, got a solid gain of about 4 or so right there. And Hayden Bulmer, a little bit slow to get up for Franklin.
Well, Montgomery, not known to be one of those dual-threat quarterbacks, but getting it done on both sides here today for this Anderson offense.
HCAC TV is brought to you by Passion to Care, delivering care with more than 24 years of experience. As a prestige healthcare company, Passion to Care is driven by decades of expertise and a drive to go above and beyond. Call us today at 317-537-1811. 2nd down and 7 upcoming for Anderson. A 4-receiver set for Zach Montgomery, who just dived forward for a 4-yard gain or so. Make it 3 yards. He'll fake the handoff, and the middle opens wide open for him. He recognized it immediately, showing off the wheels this time around.
Boy, Montgomery again seeing what he can get with his feet and getting Anderson a 1st down here.
Now, this is the last thing that you want to see, though. Montgomery, as soon as he tried to get up, went right back down to the ground. And this Anderson team has been playing remarkably well. Obviously, their defense has had a lot to do with that, but their offense has done a good job of moving the ball up the field so far today as well. So we'll take a quick step aside here. Zach Montgomery down with an injury on HCAC TV. Zach Montgomery walking off under his own power. He went down after running the ball up the field for a first down. Tried to get up and then went down pretty quickly. Noticed something was wrong, but a good sign that Montgomery walking off under his own power. So the new quarterback out there, the backup, Carson Brookbank. 6-foot sophomore, native of Springport, Indiana. And a product of Shenandoah High School. He'll have a 4-receiver set, make it a 5-receiver set early on. Pressure coming, and he is immediately taken down. Loss of 7 on the first snap of the day for Brookbank. Brookbank on the season, only 3 passing attempts, has yet to complete one of them. Sorry, that was against Hanover on the season. 132 yards, 1 touchdown, 5 interceptions for Brookbank. He did make an appearance in that last game against Hanover. That's where the 0 for 3 statistic comes from. On his career, 68% completion percentage. Now Zach Montgomery into the game. Only out for a play. Quick pass up in the air, and that one was trouble. Right underneath of it, Makai Reed. He didn't know the ball was deflected up. Nonetheless, Franklin with an opportunity for a big-time stop right here. 3rd down and long. Make it 16 yards.
Yeah, even if that pass is completed, it was going nowhere. So it may have just been with Alfred Anderson that fell harmlessly incomplete. Now a 3rd and long situation.
9:09 to go here in the second. Anderson has been very wary to kick the ball. We talked about it during the break, John. Corey Layton has yet to hit a field goal this season. And he explains the timidness to put him out there. Montgomery, quick pass, caught. Hoagland, nowhere to go. He's pushed backwards. Still in the air, trying to fight his way through. The whistle stopped that, though, and was the only reason why he was able to squeak through that line.
Yeah, forward progress stopped right there. So now you're looking at 4th and 16. In this situation, there's really nothing you can punt into the end that really doesn't do you much. So you probably do leave your offense out here in this situation.
Now, do you think Anderson potentially, because they're going to punt it right here, Elijah St. Pierre out to kick, do you try to take a penalty right here potentially and give yourself a little bit more breathing room?
Yeah, because you're going to be gaining about 19 yards of field position. If you get a touchback here, this might be a situation to just take the delay of game, give your punter a little more room.
Punts in the air, down near the 10, and wrapped up and taken down. Nice play by the Anderson defense. In there to take him down, Christian Hollins. Beautiful play by the Ravens special teams.
Boy,
who needs the penalty?
I will tell you, I'm shocked at the no fair catch signal right there because Anderson's special teams was right there. And now you're backed up inside your 10-yard line. That's why I said punting would be a good decision right there, like I said.
Just like you drew it up, huh, John? Well, I think it was just like Anderson wanted to draw it up and exactly how Franklin didn't want that to go. Franklin will have the ball pinned inside their own 10-yard line. Give credit to Elijah St. Pierre for placing the ball inside the 10 in the first place. Also a little bit of luck that Franklin didn't call a fair catch in that scenario as well. Run up the middle. And it was Cam Jennings who was getting the number called right there. He wears number 22 in that dark navy blue and gold uniform. 6-yard run.
He's been the backup running back all year. Jennings, I believe that's the first time we've called his name in this game here today.
6 carries for 18 yards against Mount St. Joseph in that last game. He gets a big run right here, still on his feet, bursting his way into the secondary and finally taken down by Zaire Prielu in around the 36-yard line or so.
Jennings able to elude a couple tacklers there and getting a considerable gain, about 20 yards there for that run for Cam Jennings.
So Cam Jennings, a little bit of a spark off the bench for this Franklin team. He'll try to turn the corner again, more positive yardage.
Now we're seeing the Franklin offense go into a little bit more of a hurry-up for the first time in this game.
An interesting call from Alan Hansel, the fifth-year head coach. Franklin alum trying to change the speed and the tempo on this Anderson defense and trying to throw him off, it seems like. 2nd down and 6 was a gain of 4 for Jennings, the Indianapolis, Indiana native. Handoff again over the middle, tripped up, but still enough to get close to the marker. He's going to be a yard short. 3rd down and 1 upcoming, but nonetheless, Cam Jennings continuing to move the ball up the field.
Now we're seeing Cam Jennings get the bulk of the carries on this drive, and now you're at 3rd and 1. Franklin getting it done on the running game. Probably no reason here to abandon the running game with only a yard to go, although they do go shotgun here.
Now Ross will look back over towards the near sideline, looking for a play call. He's got a 2-receiver set. He still has Jennings behind him now to his right. And a snap and a penalty called.
Something we have not seen a lot of today is penalties. But that now may back you up into a passing situation now, because now you're looking at about a 3rd and 7 now.
There's been almost exclusively a run game-oriented drive so far for Cam Jennings. And while there haven't been a lot of penalties, the ones that have been called have been crucial. Anderson had a pick 6 that was called back due to a block in the back. And now Franklin, as soon as it seems as though their offense gets to driving, they have to slow things down and change up their strategy. Pressure, thrown, almost intercepted again. Would have been the 3rd of the day, the 5th forced turnover of the first half for the Anderson defense. And unfortunately, Gavin Renners couldn't pull that one in.
Boy, Ross almost made a mistake there as well. And it's like we've seen Montgomery the other end throwing into traffic there. Incomplete, and it does force a Franklin punt.
Well, I'll tell you what, Franklin's offense is keeping their faithful on their toes so far today. And again, give credit to the Anderson defense. They continue to force problems against this Franklin offense. This is a team in Franklin that averages 24 points a game coming into today. Kick is in the air. And Sammy Turner is going to have to let that one drop in a nice Franklin bounce inside the 20-yard line. It'll be about the 19.5 if we want to get really specific with it. And Anderson will take over with 6:17 to go here in the second quarter.
I like the Anderson punt returner there because that ball was taking a little bit of a weird look until it was going to take a weird bounce off the turf, and he wisely just got away from it, not risk a turnover there.
HCAC TV is brought to you by Make a Difference. Help us put more student athletes on TV by logging on to the IndianaSRN.org and directing your donation to a specific school or hit the donate button. More games, more opportunities for our kids. IndianaSRN, where you always have a front row seat. Movement on the line. This is going to be a free play. Throw up the field and short. And a flag there, too. 2 penalties right there. The intended receiver down the field. Preston Yoder getting one of his first targets of the afternoon. There was movement along the defensive line and a pass interference on the defense.
Obviously, with the 2 penalties, the pass interference, the bigger penalty, and the one Anderson will take.
That's exactly what happens. Anderson declines that offsides penalty. They accept the pass interference penalty, get a free 15 yards.
Got an update from one of the other HCAC football game. Hanover has come back to take a 14-6 lead on Bluffton. Hanover looking to hang on to second place in the HCAC.
A couple of good matchups in the HCAC today. Of course, you have this back-and-forth duel between Anderson and Franklin. You mentioned Hanover Bluffton. Rose-Hulman will host Manchester. That kickoff has been moved back due to transportation issues. And that game will still take place today. Throw on the run, into trouble. And some of these throws that Montgomery has made have been highly questionable. He did take a hit right there, too. He's already gone out of the game once with an injury. Missed out on one play, which we saw Carson Brookbank come in. And yet again, Montgomery putting the ball into harm's way.
And Montgomery's been getting a little beat up here in this first half for Anderson. Did I see a flag?
So Franklin catches a break right there. Anderson going to have to move back, and an eligible man downfield for the Ravens. That'll bring up 1st down and 15. And obviously not ideal, but not a terrible scenario to be in. Could be a lot worse. First and 20, first and 25 for that reference. First and 15 seems a lot more manageable than what those figures would be. Montgomery. Plenty of time. Now he'll step up on the run. Flag flies.
This is going to be a hold, I believe.
Now you might see that first and 25 come up.
Well, just when we were talking about we haven't seen a whole lot of penalties in this first half. They're starting to pile up here now.
It's going to be a lot of laundry to do later today. That's exactly what the call was, John. You were exactly right. Anderson moves back an additional 10 yards, first and 25.
Anderson backing up the wrong way here with these penalties. Now at first and 25. And, we've seen Montgomery do some things here in the first half. So this is a situation, he's been able to get out. But first and 25, like I said, not your ideal situation. But let's see how he can handle this.
Fifth penalty of the day, 38 yards lost on penalties for Anderson, 4 on the day for Franklin for 50 yards. Clock continuing to tick away as we approach the 5.5-minute mark of the first half. Montgomery, a lot of yardage to make up, throws it, and incomplete. And a flag flies. I was wondering where it was. It seemed as though there was a lot of contact there.
Well, I actually thought the ball was deflected, but I don't know if they throw a flag. I thought a Franklin defender got his hand on that ball.
It was Adam Dunson, the intended receiver. There was clearly contact, but again, if he was going after the ball as opposed to trying to take Dunson out of the play, that's part of the decision right there, and that's a free 15 yards back.
And that's a killer penalty because that carries an automatic first down as well.
Well, obviously the Franklin fans not enjoying that call. It'll be first down and 10 now. Much more manageable for Anderson at their own 18-yard line. This has been the drive of the penalties so far. Anderson got backed up to a first and 25 situation. It's the handoff. Trying to run it to the outside. His first run of the day, Albert Rabb, working his way forward, but didn't get very far, and now we have an injury on the field. So an injury on the field for Anderson. Will return right after this break here on HCAC TV.
You're good at making big announcements. We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN. We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
Injury for the Anderson Ravens. Down on the field was William Victory. He is now up and walking off under his own power, which is always a good sign. You hate to see anybody go down with an injury, although it is a contact sport, John, and sometimes you're going to have those issues arise.
Yeah, in football, you never know. We've started to see this year, this season in college, some college kickers on non-contact getting injured. So, yeah, you just never, when you take the field, you never know.
So it'll be second down and 10. Anderson with the football inside their own 20-yard line as we return to action. Anderson wanting some movement to be recognized by the officials on the Franklin side of the football. But Julian Hauglin not able to get the benefit of the doubt. Quick snap. Pass, near side, caught. Dunson turns the corner. It's about 3 or 4 yards right there. It'll bring up third down and manageable.
Well, that'll be Dunson's fourth reception of the first half. Montgomery doing a good job finding his receivers here. And 12th completion for Montgomery in this first half. But now 3rd and about 8 or so.
Big opportunity for Franklin to try to force Anderson into a punting situation deep in their own territory. Franklin has not had a lot of good starting field position so far today, though not that it would have mattered very much considering the amount of turnovers that Franklin has given up so far. Nonetheless, you got to forget what happened in the past and focus on the future. And in the immediate future, Franklin trying to get a defensive stop. Montgomery forward and doesn't get enough. He wants a horse collar penalty. Nothing called. And Franklin's defense, while they do give a little bit, stand strong.
Yeah, those penalties right there. Anderson backed up the field position, and now they're going to have to punt from deep in their own territory. Franklin should get excellent field position out of this.
Elijah St. Pierre. Third punt up coming on the day. The last time he pinned Franklin inside their own 9-yard line. What does he have in the tank this time around? Gets the kick away. It's low enough. It might have a good bounce if it does hit the ground, but it won't. Fair catch called. And Franklin will have the football at their own 38-yard line. There's a lot of applause going on as well. Might have a potential penalty flag. And we do. And it's going to be called on Anderson.
That's going to move the ball across midfield, so Franklin's going to be starting on the Anderson side of the field here. Costly penalty. Something must have happened after the play there. I didn't see what they called, but it was some kind of unsportsmanlike. Look.
That's huge, too, because there's only 3 minutes and 27 seconds to go until halftime. And if Franklin can find a way to get onto the board after a nightmarish first half, you'd have to think they'd be feeling pretty good about themselves considering the fact that they have played as poorly as they have, and they still have a lead. Run over the middle, and Garrett Cora able to gain 5 or 6 yards on that run. Continues to trek closer to that all-time rushing yards record here at Franklin College.
Yeah, that will put Cora at 42, so he's 49 away now from the record.
5 yards on the carry, 5 more to go until Franklin can move the chains. Cora went for 179 yards in their last matchup against Mount St. Joseph. Throw on the run, and it's caught. Garrett Cora again on the reception.
And enough to get the first down, it looks like, where they're spotting the ball.
And a first down. Clock continues to tick. Franklin, at the bare minimum, would have to get into field goal range. Although a touchdown wouldn't hurt the Grizzlies as well. And if there's anything to be expected today, it's expect the unexpected, and we almost had it again. Would have been the second interception of the day for Cavante Harrell on the coverage, as Owen Wright couldn't draw that pass in. And Anderson has forced 5 turnovers on the day for Anderson, or I should say for Franklin.
Dangerous pass there by Ross. He's now just 4 of 10 throwing the football in this first half.
Might be a safer bet for the Grizzlies to put the ball on the ground for the remainder of the half. Maybe the game, who knows? That's what they do right here. Cora again on the run. At least so far from what we've seen from Garrett Cora, it hasn't been these huge, explosive tens of yards gained on one run play. It's been short bursts, but short and solid bursts for about 5 or 6 yards apiece on each run as we hit the 2-minute timeout. 7-7, Franklin driving, knocking on the door of the red zone. They're 30 yards out. 2 minutes to go here in the first half on HCAC TV.
You're good at keeping the car clean. We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
Are you an active athlete looking for enhanced performance, comfort, and recovery? Then Skins is the perfect choice for you. Our revolutionary sports compression product provides better oxygen flow in your muscles, helps reduce fatigue and pain from intense physical activity, allowing athletes to push their boundaries and perform better.
Skins helps keep everything, including you, on track.
So don't wait any longer. Get your Skins now and experience unbeatable performance.
Take your game to the next level with Skins.
2-minute timeout here in Franklin. HCAC TV is brought to you by Dynamark. Looking to elevate your brand? Choose Dynamark, your local one-stop shop for all your print, signs, promo products, apparel, and mailing services. Serving Indianapolis for over 50 years. Dynamark, where strong relationships are built through exceptional service. Call us today at 317-328-2555. Garrett Cora on the reception. Brings up a third down scenario for the Grizzlies offense.
This is going to
make it fourth down.
Yeah, 4th and 3. Let's see how Franklin plays this here. It looks like it keep the offense out.
They are in field goal range. They're going to go for it. They give the ball to Cora, bullying his way forward, and he looks like he's going to be short.
It's close.
They're going to mark him short. Another turnover on downs for the Franklin offense. The 6th forced turnover the first half for this Anderson defense.
Unbelievable what we're seeing out of the Anderson defense. By far their best performance of the year. Now you have to wonder, Anderson's got 2 timeouts with 1:45 here. And if you remember, they deferred. So they're going to get the football to start the second half as well.
I'll tell you what, this game has certainly exceeded my expectations for what we were expecting coming in. And the score doesn't jump off the page at you, but if you followed this game and have understood how we've gotten to this point, I don't see why you'd want to change the channel for the rest of the day.
Who cares about Ohio State, Penn State? This is...
Expect the unexpected. Here's the handoff over the middle. Looked like it might have been Travis Moon on the carry. And no, it wasn't Travis Moon. It was Albert Rabb again this time around.
Anderson hurrying up to the line here, not using a timeout.
$1:28 to go. Clock still ticking. Like you said, John, no timeout and no hurry for Zach Montgomery and company.
Yeah, taking a little longer than I thought they would be here.
75 seconds, the handoff to Rabb, and he is eaten up. Can't get to that first down marker. You'd have to think that Anderson would have to use that timeout around now.
Yeah, 2 timeouts. I'm surprised they're not using one here. They're down to a minute left.
They're getting lined up pretty quickly. We'll see if their snap matches that tempo.
I don't like this here, Crew. You're taking way too much time with 2 timeouts here.
I think the last thing maybe that Anderson wants to do, another handoff. Rabb gets the first down. Maybe they don't want to turn it over right before halftime. You get the ball coming out of the locker room. Maybe they're trying to play conservative a little bit, trying to preserve the fact that they are knotted up with Franklin right now. Because you got to think, this team came into this game averaging less than 7 points a game. You know, you don't know when that next score is going to come. And so, try to take the advantage while you still have it. We have another injury on the field for Anderson, so we'll take a quick step aside with 44 2/10 seconds to go here on HCAC TV.
Keith Myers, Vice President of IndianaSRN. Thanks for joining us. Do you know IndianaSRN broadcasts 350 games a year? All sorts of sports? Yeah, we do. Hard to believe, isn't it? IndianaSRN loves to put student athletes first on our website. If you're a business out there, we probably could help you too. Contact us at coach@indianasrn.org. Grandma from out of state thanks you. Mom and dad who can't get to the game thanks you as well. In fact, our athletes watch the games over and over again. Our military has enjoyed the games as well. So sit back and enjoy the game. It's IndianaSRN.
Injured on the play was Albert Rabb. He is up and walking off under his own power. You can see he's visibly frustrated as Anderson has the football. First down and 10 with 44 2/10 seconds remaining here in the first half of play from Fott Stadium in Franklin.
Well, yeah, I love that too, because with the injury, as we're going to restart the clock here, so Anderson's
Montgomery fakes, fires upfield. It was wide open and caught. Julian Haugen trying to get out of bounds. Franklin not allowing him to do so, and they are doing a great job at it. Kept him inside the boundaries of the field. And the clock obviously will have to stop for the markers, but great job by Franklin forcing Anderson to use a timeout if they have to.
Yeah, since we are under 2 minutes, they will get the stop on the first down here, and now Anderson may use a timeout here with 25 seconds.
I believe as soon as they spot that ball, that clock's going to start ticking away again. An offsides penalty called.
I apologize. I missed the flag on that, but it's declined anyway. Anderson will gladly take that play.
Yeah, still the first down for Anderson. Again, this is a team, though, that you hate to say it, but they don't have a lot of confidence in Corey Layton, who has yet to hit a field goal this season. So you're going to have to take a shot at the end zone, or you're just going to have to hold on to the ball. And now, with 18 seconds to go, Anderson takes a timeout.
So that is going to move them down to one timeout here, but they took another 7 seconds after the ball was set before they take that timeout.
A little bit of questionable clock management on the Anderson sideline. Nonetheless, they get the timeout. And again, we were talking about potentially them just trying to run the clock out. They get the ball coming out of the locker room.
Right, and like I said, I know the struggles that Layton's had on the field goals this year, but if you get the ball down to like the 25-yard line, I think you're going to have to bring him out and give him a chance to get that confidence back for missing his field goals.
18 5/10 of a second to go in what has been a chaotic first half, to put it lightly. 6 forced turnovers by the Anderson defense, 2 of those on downs, and I believe 2 of them interceptions. 1 of them was a fumble as well. And then also a turnover on downs for the Anderson offense as well. 2 interceptions today for Anderson, 1 on the day for Franklin. .5 seconds to go. Montgomery with a 3-receiver set. Haugen in motion. Sending back to throw. Has some space. Looking to run and gets tripped up from behind. Nice tackle by Devontae Brown. Clock will be stopped. Anderson will, I believe, take their final timeout.
Anderson's going to have to use it right here. So now down to 9 seconds with no timeouts. It kind of limits your play calling as to what you can do. You're going to have to go to the sideline here. Give him a chance to get out of bounds. Get a little more real estate to possibly bring your field goal kicker out and give him a chance here.
Do you think that Anderson's going to try to risk it and go for a field goal?
I think, if you get deep enough down to where it's going to be, I think you have to bring him out, give him a chance to get that monkey off his back, give him a chance to get that confidence back. Whether they will or not, I don't know, but I think I think you just have to give him a chance again here. It's going to have to be a sideline pass, though, to get the clock stopped, because with 9 seconds, no timeouts, you're not going to have time to set the ball, so you're going to have to go to the sideline here.
It's going to have to be very quick. Very quick, that is for certain. 9.4 seconds to go until halftime. Anderson with an opportunity in front of them. Will they go short and try to extend this drive, or will they take one shot to the end zone? I think the latter would be a little bit foolish to try to go after at this point, though. Of course, that's just me, though. We'll see what Jonathan Connington and his coaching staff come up with here over the course of the last 10 seconds. Garrett Corwin, the center, being told to hang on just a second.
They've added a couple seconds back to the clock here, so 11 seconds.
Every single tenth of a second at this point for Anderson is valuable if they are trying to get into the end zone. If they're trying to run the clock out, maybe that doesn't help as much, but again, not too much of a differential. Montgomery, pressure, loses the football. It's loose. That was a fumble, there's no doubt about it. Franklin has it with 5 seconds to go. So Anderson won't get a shot at the end zone. We'll see what Franklin decides to do, because Anderson has the ball coming out of the locker room. Do you take a shot here, John?
5.4 seconds. We saw at the end of the game last week the arm he's got. So, do you take a stab here, or does Franklin, with as ugly as the first half as it's been for them offensively, frankly, you may just take a knee here, as we're going to take a look at that play here. The Franklin defense coming through, forcing the fumble on Montgomery, jarring the ball loose.
Devontae Brown, number 46 at Navy, making that tackle and also knocking the ball loose. There's a 4-receiver set, so we might see a shot down the field. Anderson playing prevent just in case that scenario unfolds, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Ross, throw over the middle. We might try to go lateral, or maybe we won't. Anderson ends up with the football. How fitting to end the half as well. And guess who has it? Covante Harrell. Whether they count it as a turnover or not, it won't matter. The half comes to an end. Anderson will get the football coming out of the halftime locker room. 7-7 after the first half an hour of play. John, give me your quick thoughts real quick.
Well, it's hard. The Anderson defense has been phenomenal in this first half, and an offense that averages just about 200 yards a game is already at around 140. So this is by far the best balanced game Anderson's had. And Franklin, Coach Hansel's not going to be too happy with that offensive performance in the first half. So you're going to see a lot of regrouping on the Franklin sideline here at halftime.
Anderson, Franklin knotted up at 7 at the end of the first half. We'll take a quick step aside. Return on the other side of this break on HCAC TV.
Every person has a story waiting to be told. Mr. Jack comes in every Monday.
Yeah, that's right.
One day I noticed his hat said he was a Korean War veteran. I asked him if he'd ever been to the Korean War Memorial.
No, I never had a chance to go.
That was the day I knew we had to do whatever it took to get him there.
Manny made it happen. I got to go to Washington, D.C. to all the memorials. The World War II Memorial, Naval Memorial, Korean War Memorial. Took all kind of pictures and everything, and it was a good trip, too.
I'm glad that I could be a part of Mr. Jack's story.
I'm Keith Myers, Vice President of IndianaSRN. Thanks for joining us. Do you know IndianaSRN broadcasts 350 games a year? All sorts of sports? Yeah, we do. Hard to believe, isn't it? IndianaSRN loves to put student athletes first on our website. If you're a business out there, we probably could help you too. Contact us at coach@indianasrn.org. Grandma from out of state thanks you. Mom and Dad who can't get to the game thanks you as well. In fact, our athletes watch the games over and over again. Our military has enjoyed the games as well. So sit back and enjoy the game. It's IndianaSRN.
We are back here at Franklin College. Anderson and Franklin tied 7-7 here at the intermission on HCAC TV. Joining us here at the half, the head of community engagement for the Wheeler Mission, Denny Tolles. Appreciate you having me here at halftime here, Denny. Good to be talking with you.
I appreciate you having me. It's my second or third time doing the halftime thing, but we've had several other of our staff and leadership be able to participate in this, so it's wonderful to be able to partner with you guys on this type of platform.
I appreciate you being here, and just talk about that partnership between Wheeler Mission and IndianaSRN. It's just a privilege for us to have you guys as a partner.
We just, I've always said, probably every time that I've been on air, that I think the high school and the small college is such an audience that is untapped for us. Mm-hmm. And we've always believed too, and the studies show it, that when you get somebody really early on kind of gripped by the ability to really do some community service, it stays with them the rest of their life, right. And you can count on them as in a retention, and really replicate that type of volunteer service, and not just volunteering, but also financial donations and things like that, so that they feel a sense of ownership and accountability to a community organization that's been around 131 years.
Yeah, 131 years, a great partnership there, and like I said, honored to have you guys on board with us as well. You've got a big event coming up on Thanksgiving Day, the Drumstick Dash coming up out there.
We sure do. It will be our 22nd running of this. And when we first started it in 2003, it was kind of like, let's try this on and see what happens. There wasn't very many running events at all, certainly on a Thanksgiving Day, and we thought, well, let's just try. We knew a lot of people that like to run, but we were like, is this really going to work? And, we were surprised in 2003. We had about 1,300 people, raised a little bit of money, but the money is important because 100% of that goes back to our ministry and right to our guests. But it's also a sense of awareness for us to be able to get out in the community and say, oh yeah, I know Wheeler Mission. There's a name recognition there about they do good work. Let's continue to support that in one way or the other. And that 1,300 ended up just pre-COVID going to almost 20,000.
Wow.
And even now, even last year in our 2023, we had about 15,500. And so it's kind of creeping back up there again. But it's just such a family tradition now where people come out, and it's part of their Thanksgiving Day now. The size of it is really nice for the awareness part of it. It's actually the second largest race in Indiana, and it's like in the top 60 of the whole nation. Wow. And that's for all races. That doesn't count just Thanksgiving Day, which is unique in of itself. But we have that families come out there, strollers come out there. It's a 4.6 mile. It's like a 4.3 mile, and then also a 2.6 mile. And we have those people that are out there that will sprint the 4 miles, those avid runners, but then we'll have the moms and dads and kids and everything else that will come out there as part of their family tradition and just walk with strollers. And the kids are, we have all kinds of people dressing up, and it kind of looks like a little bit of a Halloween type thing as people dress up in different costumes as they run. So it's been very good to us, and we have really loved being able to do that. It raises for us in the neighborhood of $800,000 to $1 million.
Wow.
And that is, needless to say, that is our biggest fundraiser of the year. And we'd love people to be able to come out. You can go to drumstick-org directly, or if you go to our website, that will have a link to go there, and it shows you all about it. It shows you, number one, how to register, but it also then gives you volunteer opportunities, because between the race itself and then the expo that we have at the fairgrounds the day before, where people come and pick up their bibs and all their apparel that they're going to get for the race. Like 10,000 people come through there that day before. It takes us about 800 volunteers to be able to pull this thing off successfully on the day before Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving.
So the expo is the day before Thanksgiving, and then the Drumstick Dash itself is on Thanksgiving Day, open to, obviously, as you said, of all ages can participate in this.
Absolutely, yeah. So we have team competitions for largest teams, of course, large corporations, small corporations, schools and clubs, and then friends and families. And that you get a trophy if you win and stuff like that. So, that's not really what it's about, but yet it allows people to go, hey, for us to thank them for their efforts, because ultimately it all goes back to really making a difference with our guests, not only meeting their basic needs, which is the baseline of everything that we do, but it's also our end game is life transformation, to take the people that are experiencing homelessness and addictions and going through addictions and making them be able to reclaim their life, and really to regain the hope that their circumstances has really just crumbled. And that's really what we do. And the Drumstick Dash is one of the ways that we can not only make people aware of it, but also say, hey, you can have a part in changing somebody's life here. It's not about whether or not your registration is going to change 1,000 lives. We're asking you, how about that one person that may be impacted by your interaction, your accountability, your ownership of this thing, and that's what we do. We try to transform one life at a time, and this Drumstick Dash allows us to do this, and being here on all these SRN broadcasts also allows us to just get that word out to say, you can make it, you can matter in somebody's life, you can make a change in somebody's life, and we give you that opportunity and that platform to be able to do that, and we use your platform to be able to help us do that.
I respect everything you guys do there at the Wheeler Mission for sure, and this Drumstick Dash is one of the greatest fundraisers of the whole year. As you probably needing some volunteers still for that event, I'm sure.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's same thing, the same websites, either the wheelermission.org or drumstick-org. Not only it'll show you how to register, but it'll we'll all show you these volunteer opportunities, which are both at the expo the day before, which is at the state fairgrounds, and then in Broad Ripple and on race day. And a lot of people say, man, that's a big commitment for race day, man. We got a lot of family stuff to do at home, but I know many people that actually run the race. They are actually they run that race, and they're home by 11 or 11:30. Right. And even myself, as somebody that's a staff person and a worker, I'm usually home by 1 o'clock. So it's not like I'm there way in time for all the football, and certainly way in time for all the turkey and all the trappings that go with that. So.
You still have time to get home with your family, enjoy that nice Thanksgiving dinner. Fantastic.
Absolutely, yeah.
A couple other things I want to ask you about the Wheeler mission. We're going into the winter season, so I'm sure winter clothing is a big need as well.
Yeah, we've been really into that winter clothing for about 2 months already, because we don't really wait till that first cold day to say it. So we've been going out to our partners, which are churches and businesses and corporations and individuals, and say anything you can do to help us out with coats and scarves and gloves and shoes and boots and all those type of things to help our guests be able to make it through that winter, because they even with as many people come to Wheeler and many other social services, homeless services like that, there is still a great many of them that find themselves outside in the cold a lot of times, and only about 50% of the homeless in Indianapolis find their way to Wheeler. A few other percent goes to some of these other places, Salvation Army and places like that. But there's still a lot of people that for whatever reason, mental health issues and some other things, choose to stay outside. And even at that, we try to be able to help those people, but ultimately we love to get them inside our doors so we can love on them. We can give them both the emergency things that they need, those basic needs of food and water and clothing and meals and medical triage and really mental health evaluations. But more than that, it's like, yes, we give them that, but more than that, we try to just love on them so much that they say, maybe there's more than what my circumstances are telling me. Because that's the big thing we fight all the time is people, all they have is their circumstances to look at, and they say, you don't have much value. You're not really worth anything. And we try to get them inside of our doors, and through various things like the Drumstick Dash, like the donations of clothing and donations of food and things like that, we try to say, no, we've got a different story to tell you. We're going to meet your basic needs, but we think there's more to you than this, and let us help you try to transform your life and to really redeem that life in your family and all the other things that come with that. Because a lot of our folks that come in, they're so in such a bunker mentality of I'm just surviving to the next day, if they even do that. Sometimes until they get outside of that and can look objectively, they don't realize how many people in their whole life that it's being affected. Moms and dads and sisters and brothers and cousins and stuff that are hurting and feeling for what they're going through. So it's good to be able to kind of speak into their lives and get them the case management and the counseling that they need. And that's, if we can get them inside the doors of Wheeler and through the donations and the volunteer efforts of a lot of people, we feel like we can make a difference. And we do have a lot of, as a matter of fact, one of the greatest things that I think about Wheeler Mission, we have about 200, a little over 200 people, a full-time staff, and almost 40% of them are former guests.
Oh, wow.
So you talk about their ability to understand our guests, and our guests to look at them and say, that was me one time. And they are now living a life that I wish I had. So it's a great synergy.
So having that firsthand experience, like you were just talking about, is just it means the world.
Yeah,
going through that actual.
It's a priceless relationship that our guests have with our staff, because so many of them have been there.
Right, and I'm looking at the Finding Hope, Transforming Lives. That's what I like most about the Wheeler Mission, the statement right there that you just given. You just got into it right there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, that's the whole point. Certainly, the worst thing we could do is bring somebody off the street that's in the midst of just a dumpster fire of their life, and say, we want to tell you how good your life can be, but yet not meet those basic needs of medical and food and all that stuff. So it is imperative for us. We've got to meet those basic needs first.
Right.
And with thousands of people a night in one of our shelters, that really taxes us to be able to make sure that we have all that available for all of them. So meeting those basic needs, absolutely the first line of fine. But then once we get them there and begin to love on them and say, no, your life is worth something. Let us try to help you navigate these hurdles that's come through your life, and let's see what else is out there. And then we can see these people blossom, and people who had no hope at all, and now through the hope that being associated with allows them to be able to again regain that hope and regain their life.
Yeah, Wheeler Mission giving people that hope, like you just mentioned. Before we sign off, I want to one more time with a reminder: the upcoming Drumstick Dash, Thanksgiving morning, correct?
Thanksgiving morning, 9 a.m., Broad Ripple Village, and we'd love to see you there. And if you're not going to run, we'd love to see you there to help volunteer to do a number of different things that have to be done. And quite honestly, you can do all that and get home plenty of time for Thanksgiving festivities.
Yeah, so if you're looking for something to do that Thanksgiving morning, why not get out there and volunteer at that Drumstick Dash here? Denny Knowles, Head of Community Engagement in Wheeler Mission, I appreciate you being on with us at halftime. Thank you very much.
Here. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Halftime, 7-7, Anderson and Franklin. We'll come back and have a first half recap here on HCAC TV right after this short timeout.
At Morales Group Staffing, we are all about building better futures. And during these times, we are working hard to put people to work. We are now hiring for hundreds of jobs with pay up to $17 an hour. Visit our website at moralesgroup.net or text JOBS, JOBS, to 317-472-7600 to apply now and get hired today.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
At first, me and my mom were struggling. I was trying to pay the bills and trying to take care of my mom at the same time. When I first heard that I can get paid for taking care of my mom, I was kind of skeptical because I had been doing it for so many years without pay. That's when I reached out to Passion to Care. I read all their reviews and I saw that they were #1 in the field. Passion to Care has really, really changed my life. Right now, I take care of my mom 24/7 thanks to Passion to Care.
You're good at keeping the car clean. We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
HCAC TV is brought to you by Reynolds Farm Equipment, Passion to Care, Boilermaker Local 374, Wheeler Mission, Bertner Electric, the Morales Group. Also by the Drumstick Dash and the IndianaSRN Sports Page. Coming out of halftime, 7-7, Anderson and Franklin knotted up at 7 apiece. Cruz Martin alongside John Lester. What a first half. I mean, I don't even know where to start, honestly. The turnovers is probably a good place to start, considering that there were 3 interceptions and 2 fumble recoveries by each of these teams combined in that first half. Unbelievable.
After that first possession where both teams scored that touchdown to go 7-7, I thought we were going to be in for a shootout, Cruz, but not a single point after that in the first half. The thing that jumped out to me is this Anderson. They average a little less than 200 yards a game. They're at 149 in the first half, so this is by far their best offensive output in the first half all season long.
Looking at the total yards for both of these teams. First for Anderson, 146 compared to Franklin's 164. We mentioned the 2 interceptions by Anderson, and those came in really quick fashion. It would have been potentially a pick 6 in one of those if there wasn't a block in the back penalty called early on in that game. It could very well be 14-7 Anderson over Franklin. However, obviously that is not the case. Of course, an interception for Franklin in the first half as well. Both of these teams losing a fumble. Anderson losing their fumble on the very last play that they had from scrimmage in the first half. And as for Franklin, their fumble came on the very first play of the entire game. In terms of punts, 3-2 in favor of Anderson. Depending on how you look at it, obviously you don't want to have as many punts, but Anderson leading that total 3-2. And Anderson going for it on 4th down 3 separate times, not being able to convert 2 times for Franklin. They weren't able to convert. So really a very odd and yet exciting and intriguing first half, and I'm excited to see what we see in the second half.
A first half where you could basically say after that first year, the defenses took over the rest of that first
Exactly.
half, and that's what's led to this 7-7 game here, and I think we're going to be in for a whale of a second half here.
By the way, Anderson with 30 rushing yards compared to Franklin's 85. However, Anderson leading the receiving yards or the passing yard totals 116-79 as we get ready for the second half of play. John, I'm interested to see what Anderson does on this first play coming out of the halftime break. Obviously, they won the coin toss. They deferred in the first half, got the ball right back, and then scored. So how do you think they come out of the locker room? Do you think they try to put points on the board in terms of a field goal if they get the opportunity just to try to give themselves that lead? Because we haven't seen that so far today.
We haven't seen it. We've seen them pass on about 3 field goal attempts, and as I said, I know their field goal kicker has not made a field goal all season long, but I think at some point, if you have the opportunity, you're going to have to bring him back out. I mean, his confidence is probably running a little low right now. You're going to have to bring him back out to give him a chance to get that confidence back. But this first, I tell you what, in a 7-7 game, this first offensive series with Anderson getting the ball to start the second half, this is going to be, if not the series of the game, it is definitely going to be up there to see how these teams, defensively for Franklin, offensively for Anderson, able to do on this first possession of the second half. This is going to be a huge, huge possession right here coming out of the break.
Speaking of Franklin, what is their mindset coming out of the locker room? I mean, obviously you had a subpar first half. Do you think their mind is still on that Mount St. Joseph loss a week ago? I mean, they played the best team in the conference all the way down to the last play, and now they're in a battle with one of the bottom dwellers of the conference as well. I mean, what's the mindset here?
Yeah, we were talking about that before the game, and you've had a week to let it, but I mean, a loss like that against a game you had won and let Mount St. Joseph march down the field, it sticks with you, and I almost guarantee you, even though Coach Hansel's done his job, I guarantee it's still sticking with them, and I think that's a little bit first half, especially offensively for Franklin.
We're just about ready to get this second half underway as Franklin will kick the ball off and Anderson will have it to begin the final 30 minutes. And that's the amount of time we'll have until we have a winner decided. Of course, overtime wouldn't be that bad, though, considering the excitement that we've seen so far today. There's the kick. This one drifting over towards the sideline, and it bounces out of bounds.
Well, that's a mistake for Franklin to open the second half. A kickoff out of bounds. You're giving Anderson very good field position.
So that kick out of bounds will give Anderson good field position to begin this second half. And we'll see Zach Montgomery march his offense back onto the field. And this is an offense that only moved the ball 146 yards, but again, give credit. They were able to score really quickly after forcing that first turnover of the game. They scored in 2 plays and 41 yards. That's the lone touchdown of the day for Anderson. And it was the very next play when Franklin marched all the way down the field to tie the game up, and since then we've seen 0 scoring. Montgomery. Pressure comes again. We've seen that time and time again. He takes off again. It's about 7 or 8 yards as he runs across that sideline.
But again, Anderson being able to get it done with his feet as well in this game. That's his 4th rush of the game here for Montgomery. As I mentioned, not known to be one of those dual threat quarterbacks, but getting it done on the ground here in this one.
Second down and short and upcoming for Anderson. Here's the handoff, and going down before he could get back to the line of scrimmage. And it appears to be new running back, number 25, Aiden Navarre, falling just short of the line.
Yeah, so we're going to have a 3rd and 4 situation here for Anderson. Big 3rd down here to open the second half.
Just a minute into this 3rd quarter. Here from Franklin. Anderson won the coin toss and deferred to the second half. This is where that possession has landed them. 3rd down and manageable. Montgomery, quick throw, batted away. On the coverage, Hayden Bulmer, the Newcastle native. And Anderson is forced into a 4th down situation. We've seen him go for it 3 times on 4th down and not be successful. And now the offense comes off the field.
Yeah, 3 and out to open for Anderson in the second half, so good job by the Franklin defense and forcing an Anderson punt here to open the second half.
Elijah St. Pierre back to kick this one away. So the opening drive of the second half where Anderson falls flat. Nice boot, and it's fair caught inside the 30-yard line by Owen Wright. So 13:34 to go here in the 3rd quarter of play from Franklin. Both of these teams still knotted up at 7 apiece as the Grizzlies will get their first opportunity of the second half. HCAC TV is brought to you by Officially Human. Our mission is to restore respect to game officials and recognize them as authorities on the fields and courts. Do your part and practice good sportsmanship. If we don't have officials, we can't play.
So we came in talking about Cora needing 91 yards to set the rushing record at Franklin. He was at 49 in that first half.
Just about halfway there, maybe a little bit more. And my quick math is correct. 42 yards, I believe, is the mark that he needs to hit in this second half in order to get there. Second down and 10 upcoming for Franklin, incomplete on the pass.
And we see Ross there just now 6 for 13, under 50% passing in this game for Franklin.
Neely in motion, the handoff. And I believe that was Cora on the carry. He got stuffed as soon as he got to that line. And he hops right back up. Now 3rd down and long upcoming.
So now just like Anderson had a 3rd and long on their first offensive series, Franklin faced with the same situation here on their first offensive series of the second half, needing about 6 or 7 yards here on 3rd down.
3rd and 6 is going to be the official down and distance. And very manageable for Franklin. The problem has been turning the ball over. That's been the big bugaboo for this Grizzlies team. Ross on the run. Ross a 1st down before he's taken down in the secondary as Jake Simpson gets the stop. And give credit to Kai Ross for putting the wheels in motion.
Yeah, Ross seeing he had nothing down the field passing-wise, so saw he had a lot of green in front of him, picks up a very, very important 1st down there for Franklin.
12:30 and counting here in the 3rd quarter. Franklin trying to take the lead for the first time here this afternoon. Ross in the air. Ball caught. Inside the 40-yard line. Give the reception to Austin Ganaway. Making his first catch of the afternoon. And Franklin is into Anderson territory.
Yeah, Ganaway, great lead there from Ross, getting the ball inside the 40-yard line. Franklin driving on the first series here in second half.
Under 12 to go. 4 receivers set. Quick pass over to the near side, and ball is batted away and dropped. Owen Wright wrestling for it alongside Zaire Priolo. And eventually Priolo wins that battle.
Yeah, Priolo almost able to come down with the pick there. It'd be 2nd down and 10 for Franklin.
Franklin again has turned this ball over numerous times already today. Lost a fumble
Has thrown 2 interceptions. Has also turned it over on downs a handful of times as well. Ross over the middle, and that one is caught. This time, Malachi Joy, the senior, able to draw that catch in.
Yeah, Joy's second catch of the game. Be a couple yards short of a first down here for Franklin.
They're going to mark him short by about 2 yards. 3rd down and 2. Anderson with an opportunity defensively. Franklin looking to extend the drive. The handoff. Cora falling forward, and he's going to be a yard short.
Yeah, I think if Anderson held him here, and no question, but this part of the field, this is definitely keep your offense out and go for this on 4th down.
Again, Garrett Cora, a guy who has now ran for over 800 yards this season. He is being held in check very well by this Anderson defense. Cross the quick handoff. Cora trying to change that narrative. He gets the first down and adds on a couple of more positive yards to that total on the day.
Yeah, Cora able to get just needing a yard there, picking up 3, moving those sticks for Franklin, and now inside the 30-yard line.
Franklin continuing to move the ball down the field. This Anderson defense has not broken yet so far today, for the exception of one time. Ross, quick pass. Cora on the reception. About 6 yards or so before he's tackled in bounds.
Nice shoestring tackle there to limit the damage there for Cora, but a considerable gain on first down.
Cora last season, all HCAC first team, the senior out of Liston, Indiana. Attended Tri-West High School. He's also a second team All-American a season ago according to the AFCA. Quick pass and nice tackle as Malachi Joy made the reception. Now some jawing going back and forth between Joy and Gavante Harrell.
Yeah, a little extracurriculars taking place right there. The officials nipping it in the bud.
3rd down and short coming up. And Franklin just went for it on 3rd down and 2. Handed it off to Cora. And he had no problem getting the yardage they needed. Looks like that's exactly who they'll go to again with a 2-receiver set. And it looks like he might have had enough.
He needed a yard, and that's about all he got, but I do think it was enough to move the sticks in a first down. Did we see a flag go down?
The officials are looking back and forth between each other, discussing something, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was one. And an offsides penalty. So free yardage for Franklin inside of their own red zone.
That will definitely give Franklin the first down now, moving that ball to the 15-yard line.
No question about it. And the question is, because it was before the first down was actually made, I'm assuming they're going to make it first down at 10 instead of a first down at 5 situation. That seems to be what they're doing. Ross to the air. Plenty of contact between Malachi Joy. Once again on the coverage for Anderson, Covante Harrell.
Kind of surprised we didn't see a flag there. As you said, there was a lot of contact right there, but no, nothing doing. 2nd and 10.
Franklin has not scored since their 2nd possession of the game. In that time, they have thrown 2 interceptions. Also turned it over on downs a handful of times as well. This could be a tide-turning possession right here for the Grizzlies. Cora blown up. Zaire Priolo once again getting into the backfield and making that stop. 2nd down coming up.
And a great tackle there by Priolo as well, and a loss there for Cora on 2nd down.
Now we have an injury on the field. Another one for Anderson. Unfortunately, they've been dropping left and right so far today. Take a quick step aside here. Franklin driving inside the red zone when we come back on HCAC TV.
Every person has a story waiting to be told. Mr. Jack comes in every Monday.
That's right.
One day I noticed his hat said he was a Korean War veteran. I asked him if he'd ever been to the Korean War Memorial.
No, I never had a chance to go.
That was the day I knew we had to do whatever it took to get him there.
Manny made it happen. I got to go to Washington, D.C. to all the memorials. The World War II Memorial, Naval Memorial, Korean War Memorial. Took all kind of pictures and everything, and it was a good trip, too.
I'm glad that I could be a part of Mr. Jack's story.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN. We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
Welcome back to HCAC TV. Anderson and Franklin knotted up at 7 apiece. The Grizzlies driving inside of Anderson's red zone. See the ball at the top of your screen marked at the 17-yard line. And we have an injury for Anderson. And the injured player now up and walking off, which is a good sign. We don't have an ID. It was 88 who was injured for the Anderson defense. And is Jonathan Hayworth Dupree. And so he'll walk off under his own power, a good sign. And you hate to see any player go down with an injury, but again, part of the game. Now that does give Anderson's defense an opportunity to catch their breath, though. And especially on a 3rd down and 12 situation, that could be beneficial to the road team. Ross over the middle. And into no man's land. Malachi Joy not happy.
So now this is a situation where I think you're going to see Franklin take the points here and bring out their field goal team.
It'll be Dakota Forg, the freshman out of Tipton, Indiana, from that left hash. Adam Guth will hold it at the 24. This will be a 34-yard kick. Guth's long on the year, 62 yards. And that one looks like it was no good, and it wasn't. Off to the left, Dakota Forg misses his 2nd field goal of the season, and Anderson gets another defensive stop.
Wow, driving down the field and a missed field goal for Anderson. Yeah, another stop for this Anderson defense. Do have an update on the Bluffton, Hanover. They're heading to the 4th. Hanover now leads Bluffton 21-6, so it appears Hanover is going to hang on to 2nd place in the HCAC.
This is what the standings look like coming into today. Mount St. Joseph with a bye this week with a 4-0 conference mark, the only undefeated team remaining in conference play. You mentioned Hanover looking to hold on to that number 2 spot. They will move to 4-1 with a win today. Rolls-Holman with 2-1. Bluffton right behind them at 4 with a 2-2 record. Then Franklin and Anderson tailing both of those teams at the 5-6 mark. And then Manchester all alone in last place at an 0-3 record at 7th. Second drive of the second half for the Anderson Ravens, who are looking for their first conference win in over 2 years. And the ball's loose. Ball's loose. Who wants it? Franklin says they have it. Anderson not saying they have it. Who do the officials say have it?
Anderson somehow got to the bottom of that somehow.
So a scare on the first play of the second possession of the half for Anderson. The ball was absolutely loose. There's no question. And somehow the Ravens, who have, I'm not going to say got lucky, but they've had a couple of bounces their way so far today, get another one. Quick toss-off, and once again, Franklin's defense coming up huge right there.
Looked like some miscommunication on that toss-off, on that running play there, and it led to a 3-yard loss, so now another 3rd and long for Anderson.
It appeared to be Latarian Jones on the carry. That was his first look of the day. So 3rd down and 7 coming up. You gotta love the cool, calm, and collectiveness of Julian Holgan before he broke that huddle. Was over there dancing a little bit. He's not fazed by a 3rd and 7 situation. Isn't that trio of receivers at the bottom part of your screen? Ball batted up in the air and incomplete. Getting his hands on that one for the Franklin defense, Makai Reed.
Where Reed able to get right through that Anderson line, bat that ball away, and force a punt again for Anderson deep in their own territory. Again, Franklin should get very good field position out of this.
4th and 7. Elijah St. Pierre back in to sky this one away. Low kick. Ball takes an Anderson bounce inside the 35, inside the 30, down to the 27. A little bit of a attempt by Christian Hollins to try to potentially get some airflow going on that ball and try to push it back a little bit further. He can't do so. Not a bad punt, though. You got to give credit to Elijah St. Pierre inside the Franklin 27. Is where the Grizzlies will take over.
Yeah, again, that bounce there, Franklin was hoping for a little bit better field position than this, but once we come out the 27-yard line here and see if Anderson defense can get one more stop in them.
HCAC TV is brought to you by the IndianaSRN Sports Page. Wall-to-wall sports news every day. High school, college, pro sports. We have it all. Check it out at IndianaSRN.org and click on the Sports Page tab. Stay informed with the IndianaSRN Sports Page. Run up the middle. That time around, Cam Jennings getting his number called. Gets a positive yardage, about 4 right there.
Yeah, Jennings picking up 4 yards, giving Cora a little bit of a breather here on this series, or at least on first play.
Under 6.5 to go here in the 3rd quarter. In a game that has been riddled by Franklin turnovers. Still have a tie game. A handoff. Big gain right here. Once again, Cam Jennings across the 45-yard line. And a nice chunkage of yardage picked up by the Grizzlies offense on the ground.
And Jennings able to break through right there, pick up about 20 yards there for Franklin and a first down. Gets Jennings to 64 now on the game. Team's leading rusher.
By the way, Rose-Hulman in Manchester, one of the other HCAC games going on today other than Hanover and Bluffton. That game will kick off in roughly 20 to 25 minutes. And IndianaSRN and HCAC TV as well as RHIT.TV will have that game for you as well. So once you're done here, you can switch on over to RHIT.TV to check out Rose-Hulman and Manchester. But if I were you, I would advise to not change the channel so quickly on this game. Still tied up midway through this 3rd quarter. Second and 6, the handoff. Jennings looking for a window, and he will not get it.
The Anderson defense there. Jennings, they went to the well maybe one too many times with Jennings, and Anderson defense right there, and now a big 3rd down in this game.
3rd and 6 from the 50. Anderson's defense has made huge stops. And they're going to need another one here. 4:35 and ticking. The snap. Ross, flag flies. He'll take off. Now looks to run and gets forward and is undercut on a yard, or I should say 2 to 3 yards shy of the first down marker. We'll see what the penalty marker is about.
If this is a hold, although the way Franklin's talking, this is against Anderson.
Well, Owen Wright asking for an offsides penalty, and he'll get it.
So now that's going to open up the playbook now from 3rd and 6 to 3rd and 1. Gives you a variety of options now at this point if you're Franklin.
You'd have to think, at least from a yard out, this would probably be 4-down territory, especially considering the score at this point.
Yeah, the 7-7 game on opponent's side of the field. Yeah, you're basically 2 chances to get 1 yard here.
We'll see if Anderson's defense can keep them out. The handoff, and they cannot. Cora easily cutting through that line for the first down.
Yeah, Cora getting through there, getting 4 yards and moving the sticks once again for Franklin. In a third quarter that's just kind of flown by here, crew.
Already nearing the 3.5-minute mark. Not a lot of stoppages, not a lot of penalties. Neither team has taken a timeout up to this point either. And neither team has scored, so we haven't stepped away hardly at all either. The handoff. Once again, Cora up the middle, this time getting a chunkage. He's blown up, but not before he is able to move the ball further upfield. Enough for a first down.
And 10 more there for Cora, and inching closer to that rushing yards record. Actually going to mark him about a half yard short here.
Not even. More like a half an inch short.
Half an inch. Well, now they're going to move.
Now they're going to give it to him.
I thought he was right there in the marker.
That's what I was thinking, exactly. So they give Cora the first down. Ross the snap. Quick pass over to the near side. Joy on the reception. And takes the hit. It's about 5 yards or so, I believe. Maybe about 6.
Joy's had a pretty good game receiving. That's now his 4th catch for 53 yards in this game.
Get 5 officially on that reception for Malachi Joy.
And we were talking about Cora needing the 91 yards. He's at 67 right now, so 24 away from the record.
It's also 1 touchdown shy of tying the all-time touchdown record as well at Franklin. Nice reception by Owen Wright, and he moves the chains. Franklin inside the 15.
Was by far Franklin's best offensive series of the game here, moving the ball down inside the red zone, wanting to finish this off.
Cora Dotamiai. Ross to throw to the end zone, and the flag flies, and this is more than likely going to be defensive pass interference. Owen Wright was the intended receiver.
I don't know. That ball looked awful. I don't know that ball was catchable because that ball was way, way out of the back of the end zone. But let's see what they come up with. They're going to get the interference, though.
Big penalty by the Anderson defense. One that they could ill afford at this point. And moves Franklin that much closer. Down to the 4. Garrett Cora 1 touchdown away from tying Kyle Linville's 53 touchdown record here at Franklin. The handoff. Cora up the middle, pushing his way forward. He's going to get stuffed. Forward progress puts him at about the 2 or 3 yard line. Let's give him about a yard or 2.
Yeah, I have a feeling you're going to see about the next 2 go to Cora here, give him a chance to finish this off.
Cora has the lone touchdown for Franklin so far today. It was on the ground on the the second possession of the game for Franklin. 2nd and goal from the 3. Here's the throw to the corner of the end zone, and it's caught for a touchdown. Garrett Cora, his 2nd of the day, his 1st receiving touchdown. And now Garrett Cora has tied Kyle Linville's all-time record at Franklin, his 53rd career touchdown.
Yeah, congratulations to Cora. As we take a look at it again. See Cora getting loose there and just wide open in the corner of the end zone to tie the record.
Justin Prayer got caught watching. Couldn't react in time. And Garrett Cora puts Franklin up 14-7 on top of the Anderson Ravens here from Fott Stadium. We'll take a quick step aside here on HCAC TV. The Grizzlies up front by 7.
At Morales Group Staffing, we are all about building better futures. And during these times, we are working hard to put people to work. We are now hiring for hundreds of jobs with pay up to $17 an hour. Visit our website at moralesgroup.net or text JOBS, JOBS, to 317-472-7600 to apply now and get hired today.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
HCAC TV is brought to you by Make a Difference. Help us put more student athletes on TV by logging on to the IndianaSRN.org and directing your donation to a specific school or hit the donate button. More games, more opportunities for our kids. IndianaSRN, where you always have a front row seat. John, we were just talking about it. Franklin scores their second touchdown of the day, their first since their second drive of the game, and you feel as though, even though it's only a one-possession game, and you said it during the break, that felt a little bit more like a dagger than what you would expect with that kind of score.
The way this game has gone and the way the Anderson defense has just been phenomenal, you just kind of get the feeling that just took a lot of air out of them.
Squib kick on the ground. It'll bounce out of bounds, and the Flags will make yet another appearance here at Fott Stadium.
That's the second time here in the second half that Franklin's kicked a kickoff out of bounds and given Anderson good field position.
Again, this game not over by any stretch, but you know the way that the game has trended, like you said, John, it felt a little bit more like Franklin has finally gotten the wind in their sails and taken them out of Anderson's. But there's still a lot of football to be played. Still 16 minutes and 25 seconds to go until the conclusion. And we'll see whether Franklin or Anderson will emerge victorious. As of right now, Franklin with the upper hand in terms of the scoring.
Now, Anderson, what you cannot afford here is a 3 and out after your defense being out there for 7 minutes on that last drive.
Montgomery, and he is blown up in the backfield. Right there to take him down, Jake Jones, the fifth-year senior, able to bring him down in the backfield.
And with that, you got to get the sense as well with that long offensive drive that it a little bit of fire on the Franklin defense as well, because it looks like a totally different squad out there.
Again, we were talking about the confidence level, or the mindset level for that matter, that this Franklin team would be playing with. You come off a heartbreaking loss in the final moments to the top team in the conference in Mount St. Joseph a week ago. And you come out a little bit sluggish in this game, back and forth with Anderson. You turn the ball over the amount of times you have, but now it seems that Franklin is settling in a little bit. Montgomery scrambling, throws on the run, and it is caught. Nice reception by Julian Hoagland, the second-team All-HCAC member a season ago. And extending the drive will bring up third down.
Maybe about 3rd down and 5 or so here for Anderson. Must convert right here.
This could be the final play of the quarter, and it looks like it might be. Montgomery. Put Dietrich Johnson in motion for a moment. Down to 6. Will they even snap the ball? The answer to that question is no. They will not. End of the third quarter, Franklin gets on the board. 14-7. Anderson with a 3rd and 5 scenario when we come back from the break here on HCAC TV.
Are you an active athlete looking for enhanced performance, comfort, and recovery? Then Skins is the perfect choice for you. Our revolutionary sports compression product provides better oxygen flow in your muscles, helps reduce fatigue and pain from intense physical activity, allowing athletes to push their boundaries and perform better.
Skins helps keep everything, including you, on track.
So don't wait any longer. Get your Skins now and experience unbeatable performance.
Take your game to the next level with Skins.
They say nice guys don't finish first. So maybe it's time to reconsider what it means to be first.
It's about being your best, but knowing you can be even better.
It's being present, but respectful of history.
Sure you want to make that move?
It's donating something more valuable than money.
It's believing in yourself and something bigger.
It's coming from different families, but treating each other like brothers.
It's not just being a man, it's being a Mason.
Welcome Welcome back to Franklin College on HCAC TV. It's brought to you by Family Source Insurance. Pat Cherry is your independent agent representing Ohio Mutual Insurance. Call him today for coverage tomorrow, 317-894-7000. Big 3rd down and 5 opportunity upcoming here, John.
Yeah, this is a 3rd and 5 that Anderson has to convert on. I mean, you just gave up a 7-minute sustained drive. The last thing you can do is go 3 and out on the following offensive possession.
Both crowds roaring. They understand the significance of this play right here. Anderson trying to get off on the right foot to begin the final frame of play. Montgomery throws it, and no one even there. Intended receiver was Adam Dunson, 4th and 5 upcoming, and Anderson is going to have to boot this one away.
Now, I was getting ready to say, you're at the 40-yard line. Do you roll the dice here on 4th down? But Coach Coddington's not going to do that. He's bringing the punting team on.
Seems like it'd be a little bit too early to try to go for it from that spot on the field in particular. But if Anderson's defense can get a stop, they still have an opportunity to tie this game up. But their defense is going to have to stand strong. And that is something that they have not lacked so far tonight was defense. Kick barely gets away. And it takes a Franklin bounce. And it's immediately picked up. And so that's where Franklin will take over.
You only got about a 26-yard punt there, so you're giving Franklin pretty good starting field position. Before we move any further, Cruz, I have to ask you, Mr. IU man, what's your call on the game today later on?
Oh man, that's a good topic. I could probably talk about that for an hour on my own. Well, that game's just about to kick off. A lot of people consider this IU game a trap game against Michigan State on the road.
I'm one of those.
I'm going to say Indiana by 14. I think.
Wow.
That's obviously coming from an Indiana student, obviously, so that had a little bit of bias in there, but nonetheless, I still have confidence they'll get the win nonetheless. The snap, Ross hands it off, and Jennings on the run to the outside. It's about 6 yards right there before he's taken down.
Yeah, nice little pickup there for Jennings.
Swinging the topic back to the Big Ten. There was a big loss in the Big Ten standings that we've been following throughout the course of this game as Ohio State, the big noon kickoff game, College game day in College Park. Or I guess I should say, it's College Park, or isn't that right?
University
Pennsylvania?
Park.
University
Close
Park,
enough. Yep.
That's right. I know what I'm talking about. At least I think I do. Happy Valley as the handoff to Jennings. And he is taken back about 4 or 5 yards right there.
Well, Anderson defense brought the house right there. Nowhere to go for Jennings now. And now about the biggest 3rd down of the game coming up right here.
3rd down and 8 upcoming for Franklin. But Ohio State takes down Penn State. Number 4 takes down number 3. That's Penn State's first loss of the season.
And again, they were talking in that game, Penn State just cannot win those big games. And again, they come up short again today.
Not even Michael Key could push the Nittany Lions over top of the Buckeyes. Here's pressure coming from behind, and Ross is taken down in the backfield. A huge tackle by the Anderson defense. Connor Huffman bumping his fist, knowing the significance of that takedown on 3rd down and long.
Connor Huffman was coming, and I don't think Ross had any clue he was behind him. A great play there, and Anderson gets a much-needed 3 and out on defense.
And that's why when you talk about right-handed quarterbacks, the left tackle is always one of the most crucial position players to have. And right there was a good example of it, as he got hit from his blind side. If anybody knows the story of the movie, I mean, it should be pretty self-explanatory, but just in case, something to bring up. Speaking of up, the kick is up in the air and is fielded at around the 32-yard line, and is run back for about 5 yards or so. It was picked up by Semi Turner, excuse me.
Good special teams there by Franklin to limit the return there, but still very good starting field position for Anderson here. You get now with 12:45 to go, down a touchdown. You get the Anderson. This is a must-score drive right here.
Anderson's still in this game. We talked about, John, Franklin scoring that last touchdown. Took the winds out of the sails a little bit for Anderson, but they get it right back with that giant tackle and that sack. They're still in this game. An opportunity to pick up their first conference win in over 2 years. And off in a short gain of about 2 yards right there. It looks like it was Travis Moon who's back into the game, and it was. Clock continues to tick away.
Yeah, Moon's really been held in check by this Franklin defense. 6 carries, just 11 yards for Moon in this one.
3 receivers set. Halkin in motion. There's no shortage of cowbell coming through that mic. On the run, Montgomery, and the ball is dropped. It was dropped by Adam Dunson. It was right in his mitts, and he took off before he could complete the catch.
Yeah, right. I say one of those classic cases. You see a lot of green in front of you and try to take off before you have the football, and usually not a good scenario. And now another 3rd down. That's a catch you have to make there if you're Dunson.
So now Anderson facing an identical situation that Franklin just faced. 3rd down and 8. Anderson was able to get a huge defensive stop. Now Franklin will try to counteract that. Both fan bases on their feet. Montgomery gets rid of it, and it's caught. Out across the 45-yard line. Dietrich Johnson once again on the catch.
Yeah, a couple yards short of the 1st down here, and I think Anderson may, in this situation, leave the offense out here and roll the dice on 4th and 2.
That's right, 4th and 2 upcoming. They got to get to the 48. The 46-yard line is where the ball's at, and they will kick this one away.
Ooh, surprising decision here. I thought they might try to roll the dice here with 11 and a half minutes left. That's called having the utmost confidence in your defense, and they've been phenomenal today.
Well, the good news for Anderson is that they move the ball forward for a couple of yards, and so that gives Elijah St. Pierre a good opportunity to try to pin Franklin inside potentially their own 25, maybe even further. His feet are planted at the 32. Snap is back. And almost blocked.
He got the kicker. I don't know if they're going to throw the flag here.
They did.
Yeah.
They sure did. That's going to be roughing the kicker on the Grizzlies. Ball was caught inside the 20-yard line, so Franklin would have had a long field to march with. And this is only going to compound the problem.
That is a killer penalty for Franklin.
That moves the chains for Anderson. How deflating is that for Franklin? You have a chance to get the ball back, given you were looking at a long field, but you would rather have the ball in a long field than give up a free 1st down.
Yeah, just giving them 15 yards right there, and that's not only give them 15 yards, but that's going to move the ball inside the 40-yard line, I believe.
So Anderson gets yet another ball to bounce their direction. Exactly 11 minutes to go in this HCAC clash. Montgomery, flag. Montgomery looking forward for a yard before he's ran out of bounds.
And where that flag is, I think this is going to be a whole offensive holding. Probably going to bring this one back.
Again, when we've seen penalties, they've come in bunches so far today. You'll have a dry spell where you don't have one for a while, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, all you're seeing is yellow on the field. Dietrich Johnson called for the holding penalty.
So that's going to make it 1st and 20 and limit your options now a little bit, even though it's still only 1st down. But I think you're going to have a definite passing situation here now, I believe.
1st and 20 upcoming for Zach Montgomery and company.
And Hanover has added to their lead now, 35-13 over Bluffton in the 4th. So it looks like Hanover's going to go to 4-1.
Whistle blows, flag flies. Will this be a false start?
I believe so.
That's exactly right.
Well, Anderson now just gave that 15 yards on the penalty right back because they're marched back now to 1st and 25.
They still have the football. However, it's going to be really difficult for Anderson to try to make it back to those markers, especially with the amount of distance, obviously. Now the clock will continue to run again. You see the marker over there near the 39-yard line. That's where this set of downs began. And obviously where you see the ball spotted right now is where they've ended up. Pressure coming, and it gets pushed back even further. Lots of pressure coming from the backside. And another sack for the Grizzlies pushes Anderson back even further.
Yeah, Franklin brought it right there and getting the sack, and now you're faced with 2nd and 31. And this is one of those situations we were talking about, how Anderson struggles offensively. It's just been a tale of two halves. They've held to 23 yards of offense here in the second half by this Franklin defense.
It's gut check time now for Anderson. 2nd and 31.
Now this is one of these. You want to try to just get half of it. You're not more than likely going to get all 31 on one play.
Pressure coming off the edge. Montgomery knows it. Being chased down, finally gets rid of it, and the ball is caught. Inbounds. Adam Dunson in there to slide and catch it.
Yeah, he's getting what he could there, picking up about 6 yards, but it's still 3rd and a country mile here for Anderson, 3rd and 25.
What's the exact distance of a country mile? I'm curious. We might have to figure that out before we go off the air here. By the way, an update from the IU football game. The Michigan State Spartans on top of Indiana 3-0 early on in that game. 6:21 to go in the first quarter.
Plenty of time.
Plenty of time. I'm not even worried about it. Not yet. It's a keeper. Montgomery on the run across midfield. Down to about the 49-yard line.
Yeah, just getting what he could there. So now 4th down, you're probably going to have to punt the football at this point. We've got a player slow getting up here.
And it's another Anderson Raven down on the field. And so we'll take a quick step aside. Anderson trying to make something out of nothing. 4th and 20 upcoming when we come back on HCAC TV.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
Back here in Franklin on HCAC TV, it was the quarterback, Carson Brookbank, the backup to Zach Montgomery, who was injured. And so now that security blanket for Zach Montgomery, if he were to go down, is no longer there.
And it looks like Anderson is going to punt this away on 4th and 20.
And that's exactly what they're going to do. Elijah St. Pierre with a good position to try to pin Franklin right here. We'll see if he can do so. He's got a nice kick up in the air. Bounces at the 15, fielded at the 10. Right, not able to get very far, around the 26-yard line. And so a good punt by Anderson right there, forcing Franklin to try to return it.
And Franklin wisely did not go after the kicker that time, because that cost him 15 previously. So now with 8:23 to go, does Franklin get a little more patient here on offense and go with more of the running game? We'll see here.
Well, if they do, a guy to keep an eye out is Garrett Cora. He has already tied a Franklin record today. He has 2 touchdowns. That ties Kyle Linville for 53 in their career. That is a record. And then, of course, he came into the game needing 91 yards to break the all-time rushing record set by Rick Etienne back in the 1990s.
And
he number 3,952.
Currently at 68.
So inching closer. I believe that figure is about, 23 yards or so. Owen Wright pushed out of bounds.
Not much doing there on first down. Good job for the Anderson defense. About 4-yard pickup.
Well, first of all, John, you don't know how proud I was that I got that 23 figure right.
That was impressive.
If you guys haven't caught on yet, math is not my strong suit, which is ironic because I work in an industry that has a lot to do with
math.
Ross dropping back. He has an opportunity to run forward, throws on the run, and it's caught right on the reception across midfield. And Franklin moving the ball up the field now with relative ease. That could potentially be a problem for Anderson.
Well, then they're right getting that reception. It looked like he was going to actually try to toss that to Cora, but he got met there before he had that opportunity. But still a nice 20-yard gain on first down, or second down, rather.
.724 and counting here in the fourth. Ross the handoff. Cora up the middle. It's about 8 or 9, and it looks like it's more about 7 or 8 right there. Add on to his total as he reaches the 70-yard mark here this afternoon.
And Cora's one of those, every time he gets, you keep waiting for him to break one. He hasn't been able to yet, but you keep waiting for him to do that. Now we'll bring him to 75, so 16 away now.
What a milestone that'll be once the senior from Liston, Indiana is able to hit that milestone. And here it is right there. Garrett Cora breaks free across the 20, down inside the 15-yard line. There's no doubt he got it there. Garrett Cora, the new all-time rushing yards leader in Franklin College history.
Congratulations to Cora. Yeah, you kept waiting for he was going to break one, and there it is right here, the record setter for Cora. You're going to look at it right here, bust right through there.
He gets the nod again as he goes down to the end zone. He has an opportunity to break 2 Franklin College records in a matter of a couple of plays. His next career touchdown would give him the lone record for the most touchdowns. As we take another look at the run that set the record.
Here's that run for Cora getting past those, breaking those 2 tackles, and it was almost to the house there, down to the 11-yard line, the record setter right there.
Second down and 3. More importantly, I think to the game, Franklin has an opportunity to go up 2 scores, and they will. Garrett Cora just set the all-time rushing yards record in Franklin College 2 plays ago. This time he busts into the end zone and sets the new all-time career touchdowns record at Franklin as well. His 54th of his career, and Franklin takes a 2-touchdown lead.
And Cora just put himself into the Franklin College record books. It was only fitting he would get a chance to finish this drive right here, and sure enough, right there, finishes it off, and a touchdown for Cora, and one that you figure probably puts away Anderson here.
Kick on the way, and that one right down the middle. Franklin now blowing this game open. Even though the score might not seem like it, it has been. Franklin 21, Anderson 7, 5:39 to go in the fourth here on HCAC TV.
Calling officials cheaters or corrupt, it's not a game.
Insulting referees, it's not a game.
Threatening officials, it's not a game.
Berating young umpires, learning the ropes, it's not a game.
Violent language in the stands, it's not a game.
Verbal abuse from the sideline, it's not a game.
Screaming at a referee in the parking lot, it's not a game.
HCAC TV is brought to you by Aspen Creek Grill. Why go anywhere else for delicious food? If you're looking for an amazing fresh food and servers that genuinely care about service, you've got to try Aspen Creek Grill. Franklin with a 21-7 advantage over Anderson. As the Ravens will try to take it back the other way, and here we go. Big return for the Ravens. I believe that's DIII Johnson, and it is. He goes all the way in and tumbles his way into the end zone for an Anderson touchdown, no flags.
Well, just when we were saying Franklin may have just delivered the knockout punch, how about this answer for Anderson on a kick return? Wow, and back to a one-score game again.
Why are we surprised at this point, John? Every single time that you seem to expect what's coming next, something like this happens.
And Johnson was untouched going right through the defense, 91 yards on the kickoff return. And a little animation there on that touchdown going into the end zone.
Wow, unbelievable. So Corey Layton will come in for the extra point. He hit his first earlier today. That kick is good. So Anderson doesn't even have to have Zach Montgomery and company march back onto the field. DIII Johnson just does it himself, and Anderson is able to get a kickoff return for a touchdown. Franklin will have the ball when we come back here on HCAC TV.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
HCAC TV is brought to you by Clean Slate. Find your future in the cloud. We're a technology consulting firm specializing in custom-built, modern applications and products that deliver greater agility, faster speed to innovation, and the resiliency to handle whatever the future throws your way. Call us today at 866-885-3249. Timeout called by Franklin before the kickoff. And I believe we will stay with you here on HCAC TV.
Well, I want to go back to the first half with Anderson getting this back to a 7-point game. I want to go back to the moments in the first half. You remember back in the first half, Anderson passed on 2 field goal attempts. Had they now gone for those field goal attempts, we could be sitting in a different situation right now.
Now, those would have been very long field goal attempts. There's no doubt about that. And Corey Layton doesn't have the biggest leg, to put it in that sense, but nonetheless, Anderson's still in this game. I think that's the biggest thing that the Ravens are happy about right now after that DIII Johnson kickoff return for a touchdown. I mean, it just completely flipped this game on top of its head.
It looked like with that touchdown that Anderson, that was the put away for Anderson, and how about that electric answer right there? Yeah, and now let's see when Franklin gets the ball here if that lit a fire under the Anderson defense, who has been phenomenal today. Let's not be any about that, but let's see if they can get one more stop here and get the offense the ball back and give them a chance.
Franklin setting up as though the Ravens might try to onside kick this one.
I think it's a little early for that, but we'll see.
Well, again, expect the unexpected. That's the only thing that we can expect at this point. And they'll try it. Ball's loose, and a flag flies. I don't think that traveled enough distance before Anderson tried to pick it up. Franklin ends up with it anyway.
Well, I mean, I understand Anderson. I just think with 5:27 to go and your special teams just got you a touchdown and the way your defense is played, I think you go ahead and kick it deep there. And now you're giving Franklin the ball on the positive side of the field.
That's the biggest thing right there, is that Franklin has the opportunity to kick a field goal if they can move the chains maybe once, maybe even twice at the most. It was offsides on Anderson. So Franklin with very promising field position. This possession will start at the Anderson 47-yard line. And we'll see what the Anderson defense can muster up here, but Franklin in a very promising position.
Yeah, you're only going to need about, like you said, 1 or 2 first downs, and you're in field goal range, which would put it a 2-score game again. So, I like the aggressiveness, I guess, there for Coach Conley, but I just think that's a situation you still just kick it away and give it to your defense.
And the defense has forced a multitude of turnovers so far today as well. 2 interceptions, a fumble recovery, multiple stops on 4th down. I mean, you'd think at least at this point, you'd be able to trust your defense enough, right?
Yeah, I was just kind of surprised at the play call right there on the onside.
You can't go back and get it now, though. Anderson's defense going to have to stand strong with a shorter field to work with as well. Well, the only good news is, and this would be a very weird way of looking at it, is the officials will have a conversation. If Franklin scores very quickly and Anderson can strike quickly, then you have an opportunity to do the whole situation over again, but with less time on the clock. And so it seems like a very iffy way to go about it, but nonetheless, it's still an opportunity.
And you think Franklin, with this situation here, is going to stick with mostly of the running game, too, make Anderson stop, and there goes Cora again.
Cora cuts it back. He's got nobody in front of him down the sideline, and a 4th touchdown on the day for Garrett Cora. Might have just slammed the door on Anderson.
Well, right there, yeah, Cora just took one play after the onside attempt, and Cora breaks another one for another Franklin touchdown, and back to that 2-score lead again. Well, I was saying earlier we were waiting for Cora to break one, and now he's broke 2 in the last 3 plays here as Cora untouched there on the left side into the end zone, 47 yards.
Well, we talked about Franklin scoring quick. That's exactly what happened. Now it's Anderson's time to pick up their end of the bargain. Kick is on its way, and that one is pure right down the middle. 28-14 Franklin, desperately trying to put away Anderson with 5:17 to go. The Ravens will get the football when we come back here on HCAC TV.
Yeah, you kick that deep, man.
Right? Although I think at that point, if they do the same play here, Cora's going to go all the way anyway. So, but HCAC TV is brought to you by Wheeler Mission. For over 131 years, Wheeler Mission has been a pillar in the Indianapolis community, providing help, hope, and healing to people in need. You can volunteer today, 317-686-6239. Now a squib kick put in play by Franklin, and it bounces over the head of Dietrich Johnson. He has to go back and field it inside his own 10, and that is where he is stopped. What a great play by Franklin on a squib kick.
Well, they squib kick it because you remember earlier in the half they kicked the ball out of bounds twice, so they went with the squib kick that time, and it ended up paying off as Johnson definitely not able to break that one, and Anderson's going to be backed up at their 10-yard line.
And so Franklin struck very quickly with the short field, and Garrett Cora got his 4th touchdown of the day. Somehow that's not the biggest story of the day as well. It's been the turnovers that Franklin has had, and yet they still put up 28 points on the board against this Anderson team. And now it's the question of what does Anderson do going forward. They're going to have to strike quick because they're down 2 scores.
And you got 90 yards you got to get here.
Here's the handoff. Up the middle of the field, they handed it off to the running back by the name of Latarian Jones. Forward for about 5 yards or so. Anderson struck quick on their last special teams opportunity before this past one. It was Dietrich Johnson who returned it all the way to the end zone for a touchdown. It was roughly a 90-yard return. Montgomery, pressure coming. He's taken down inside the 5-yard line. Jake Jones right there to take him down to the ground. And now all of a sudden Anderson's backs are against the ropes.
Yeah, Franklin's bringing it once again there and able to get to Montgomery. And now you are facing a 3rd and 13 back at your 7-yard line.
4:30 and ticking for Anderson. You have to think after the terrific start that they had to this game. Even though they couldn't put points on the board, they kept getting takeaways against Franklin.
That's the 5th sack of the game for the Franklin defense today as well.
Montgomery. Only 3 feet out of his end zone. Now he's in the painted area. Quick pass out to the near side, deflected away. Devontae Brown, I believe. No, it was Hayden Durnell back there to bat it away.
So 4th and 13, they're going to force an Anderson punt from the end zone, and now I think with the 2-score lead, you're going to see Franklin be very, very patient on offense.
Well, this is the worst positioning that Elijah St. Pierre has had in terms of punting. In the shadow of the back of his own end zone. 4:04 to go. It's 4th and 13. Obviously, it wouldn't be wise for Anderson to try a fake right here. He gets the kick away. Not a bad-looking kick either, and it takes a slight Anderson bounce before it dies at about the 47. And that's where Franklin will take over.
Considering the circumstances, that's actually a very good kick there, getting the ball out to the 47-yard line.
Well, Franklin has an opportunity to put Anderson away for good. Although if that punt didn't do it, I would be rather surprised.
Cruz, this may not be a pleasant drive back to Bloomington for you. 10-0 Michigan State after 1 over Indiana.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, this is going to be a long, long drive home. I wasn't worried yet, but I don't know, maybe I'll get there here before long. Here's the handoff. Cora again up the middle. Another big chunk of yardage. He stays on his feet. About 9 right there before he's taken down. And no, they're going to give him the first down, so 10+.
And all of a sudden, Cora was being held in check, but all of a sudden, he's up to 164 yards rushing.
He only needed 91 to break the all-time rushing record at Franklin. He was able to do that on that last drive, and then 2 plays later, set the new career touchdowns record at Franklin as well, surpassing Kyle Linville with his 54th career touchdown. Oh, by the way, 4 on the day as well for Cora. I believe 55 for his career as well after that last touchdown he scored as well. Cora again on the handoff, and this time he's being thrown around. Forward progress will give him about 3 yards or so.
With Anderson having all 3 timeouts, they may be forced to start using them here on defense. Not using one here.
2:45 to go. And ticking, I should say. And a 2-score lead for the Franklin Grizzlies. If they do hold on, they will improve on the season to 3-5, 2-2 in conference play. They'd be tied with Bluffton, depending on what that outcome looks like. I believe Hanover was on top of Bluffton last time we checked. They would leapfrog Bluffton and
it is
move
now
into 4th place in the conference.
I'm sorry, Cruz. It is now a final 49-13 Hanover over Bluffton in that one.
Another short handoff for Franklin as they continue to milk that clock. So that moves Bluffton down to 3-2 in conference play. Or I should say 2-3 in conference play. Sub 500. Franklin will move to 500 at 2-2. As Anderson takes a timeout, they will move into 4th place in the conference. 2:10 to go. 28-14 Franklin on top of Anderson. As we wind things down here, John, give me your thoughts, first of all, on the first half compared to the second half, because these were 2 polar opposite halves and plenty of chaos to go around.
Been like a tale of 2, like you mentioned, tale of 2 games there, half to half. But, you know, the main thing, it looks like Coach Hensel, he could not be pleased at the half, the way Franklin played in that first half. They've got them regrouped, and we're seeing a Franklin team that we have seen, the Franklin offense here in the second half. Garrett Cora has just finally found his rhythm here in the second half, and Anderson, you know, they just have been unable to sustain the sluggish offense they've had all year. Unfortunately, here in the second half has showed up here for Anderson as they've been able to get nothing going offensively here in the second half.
And the amount of turnovers that the Anderson defense was able to force was something that I've almost never seen before. I mean, you're able to pick off Franklin twice, force a fumble. You're able to turn them over on downs twice at least, maybe even 3 times. Again, I'm not great at counting, but nonetheless, still a handful of times at the bare minimum. And yet Franklin was still able to find a way. Now they're in the driver's seat with 2:10 to go, a 3rd down and 6 opportunity for Anderson's defense to try to get a stop, but at this point, it seems void of any meaning. Cora hurdling his way across the 20-yard line. I should say the 25-yard line down towards the 20. Yet again, showcasing that athleticism, one of the reasons why he's the all-time leading rusher in Franklin history. We've hit the 2-minute timeout. We'll step away one final time here on HCAC TV. Franklin in the driver's seat on top of Anderson.
You're good at making big announcements. We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN. We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
Welcome back to Fott Stadium here in Franklin, Indiana, as the Grizzlies trying to put away Anderson once and for all. It's going to be first down and 10 after a big run from Garrett Cora, who, again, has broken 2 records here this afternoon. All-time rushing leader in Franklin Grizzlies football history. And then 2 plays after he set that record, set the new touchdown record for a career with 54, breaking Kyle Linville's record of 53. He's already tacked one since then for his 55th of his career. He's still the back in there alongside Ross. He'll get the handoff, spins off a tackle. Doesn't get very far before he's taken down, and the clock will again continue to run until Anderson calls a timeout. And so Anderson going to burn through those timeouts, although at this point it seems a little bit, I'm not going to say pointless, but a little bit odd that they would use the timeouts at this point instead of on the last possession maybe.
Possession before is where I thought he'd use them, and Cora here, what can we say about this, Cora? I mean, 190 yards now in this game. Just the athleticism this kid carries, and, what more can you say about Cora? What a phenomenal athlete on Franklin.
Over 3,800 yards in his career. And, John, do you have the total of the amount of yards that he has so far today?
I believe he is now at 191 after that
191, so that would put him over 4,000 yards in his career as well. He just broke that milestone today, too, as well. So how about Garrett Cora breaking 2 school records and breaching the 4,000 career yard mark as well this afternoon, also breaking the breaking the touchdown record. I typed that number in wrong. You can tell I definitely don't like arithmetic. Or using that word for that matter. By the way, the Indiana Hoosiers onto the board for the first time against Michigan State. They trail 10-7. Of course, that game's on, I believe, is it FS1 today?
No, at Peacock. Exclusive game.
Peacock. So don't get on Peacock. Instead, stay with us at HCAC TV. Here's the handoff for Cora. He dodges a tackle and gets down inside of the 15 before he's tackled. Just shy of the first down, potentially at the line. It's close.
And I believe that carry puts Cora at the 200-yard mark today, rushing on 29 carries.
What a day for Garrett Cora. He's definitely not going to forget November 2nd, 2024. Well, Anderson takes the timeout. He might forget that first half, but that second half was definitely special for him. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, Anderson did a great job holding him down the first half, but in that second half, Cora found a way, and you saw why Cora is now the single season or the career rushing record at Anderson.
And we mentioned staying here on HCAC TV. You can switch over on our network of channels to rhit.tv to check out Rolls-Holman taking on Manchester when we're through here from Fott Stadium. So more Division III football coming your way. All you have to do is switch over to that stream. You can check out the Fighting Engineers taking on the Spartans.
You do have an update on that game. They have gotten underway. Rose-Hulman 21-7, just underway in the second quarter.
Rose-Hulman's a beautiful campus. It is a beautiful campus. I've traveled back and forth there for RHIT.TV for the last couple of weeks, and especially during the fall season, absolutely gorgeous campus.
Terre Haute was my hometown up until 2017, so yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. That's one of the most beautiful campuses in the Midwest, for sure.
1:48 to go. Fourth quarter from Franklin. Kai Ross still the quarterback. And Garrett Cora still the running back. And Garrett Cora still doing Garrett Cora things. His 5th touchdown of the afternoon. And Franklin has officially closed down the shop on Anderson.
Now, why not leave it to Cora to deliver the finishing touch there to Anderson? 5th touchdown of the game for Anderson, or for Franklin rather, and Franklin pulled away here in this fourth quarter over Anderson. A very game Anderson team today.
So Dakota Forg will come in to kick this out of the hold of Adam Guth. And the finishing touches on a spectacular second half for Franklin. The snap back, the kick, and the signal from the officials, all in succession. 35-14, Franklin on top of Anderson. We'll take a quick step aside, return for the final minute and 42 seconds on HCAC TV.
At first, me and my mom were struggling. I was trying to pay the bills and trying to take care of my mom at the same time. When I first heard that I can get paid for taking care of my mom, I was kind of skeptical because I had been doing it for so many years without pay. That's when I reached out to Passion to Care. I read all their reviews and I saw that they were #1 in the field. Passion to Care has really, really changed my life. Right now, I take care of my mom 24/7 thanks to Passion to Care.
Welcome back to HCAC TV. Franklin officially closing the door on Anderson here this afternoon with that last touchdown by Garrett Cora, his 5th of the day. And he continues to push the envelope of what is possible in a Franklin Grizzlies uniform. Now his 56th touchdown of his career. And John, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on Anderson today. They got off to a terrific start, not offensively, but defensively, forcing over 5 turnovers against this Franklin defense, or against this Franklin offense, I should say, today. And they end up coming up short, but they put up a fight. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, normally when you force 5 turnovers in a game, you're going to win probably 95% of those. And Anderson, we're just seeing the struggles on offense they have. They just do not have the offensive firepower right now in order to turn that into winning on the offensive side. But they're getting to Anderson has shown strides here in the last couple 2-3 games.
Nice return by Dietrich Johnson. Not the best of the day, obviously. I believe that was Johnson. It might have been Semi Turner. Couldn't see exactly which jersey it was. It was tucked into his pants. Nonetheless, Anderson will have a fair look at field position at their own 38-yard line. So at this point, everything more so for routine purposes at this point. Throw to the far side, first down. Ball was caught off the pass from Montgomery for Adam Dunson.
Anderson will be in action at home against Rose-Hulman next week. Franklin will head to Bluffton to continue their seasons.
2 games remaining in the regular season. You mentioned that Franklin will be at Bluffton and Anderson will take on Rose-Hulman at home. And then Franklin will take on Hanover right back here at Font Stadium, and then Anderson will wrap up their regular season portion of their schedule as that ball is dropped out of bounds by Dunson. They will take on Manchester at home to end out the year as well. So still an opportunity for Anderson to get that long-awaited first conference win under Jonathan Coddington. They have 2 opportunities ahead of them in Rose-Hulman and Manchester.
And we here over HCAC TV next week will have the Mount St. Joseph Manchester game for you. That will be a 1:30 kickoff.
Pressure coming. Montgomery has to dump it off. He gets rid of it. And the ball is caught. A nice run by Latarian Jones inside the 40 down towards the 35-yard line before he's eventually tripped up and taken down to the ground.
Well done there by Jones getting the extra yardage. And this would be a nice little boost here for Anderson if they can punch it in the end zone here before the end of the game.
Pressure coming. Montgomery has to get rid of it. He throws it into no man's land, incomplete with exactly 60 seconds remaining in this game. And this was an Anderson team coming into today that averaged 6.7 points a game. They only averaged 55 yards rushing, 144 yards passing for a total of less than 200 yards a game. 14 points on the board, which is the most that they have scored in a game since that win at Oberlin back on September 14th.
And Montgomery has passed for 164 today. Getting it done offensively, one of the better showing for Montgomery this year.
It's 20 yards past their season average on the year, and they can still tally on to that. Ball's up and intercepted. It is picked off. Hayden Blummer right there to pick it up, make it Hayden Bulmer, excuse me. And Franklin will walk off the field with a defensive stop, their second interception of the day.
And Franklin finishing off here, and you're going to see a couple kneel downs, and Franklin will be heading to 500 in HCAC play as we take a look at that pick right here. Just trying to force it in there, and right there is the defender to pick it off. Finish this ball game and this victory for Franklin.
Hayden Bulmer, the third interception of his career, the first of the season. And Franklin will walk away with a 35-14 victory over the Anderson Ravens. They will improve to 3-5 on the year, 2-2 in HCAC play. That'll bump them up to 4th and have them leapfrog Bluffton for that 4th position. As for Anderson, they will fall to 1-7 on the year and 0-4 in HCAC play. First knee in a series of, we can only assume 2, one more upcoming for Kai Ross, the senior. By the way, the Liston, Indiana connection, the Tri-West connection between Kai Ross and Garrett Cora, we had failed to mention up to this point, but that group of high schoolers right there now playing at the collegiate level at Franklin, you can tell that their connection is strong. One final time, Kai Ross under center. Victory for Grizzlies. And that is the ball game. The Franklin Grizzlies are able to fend off a pesky and competitive Anderson Ravens team this afternoon from Fott Stadium. Final score from Franklin, 35-14. The Grizzlies over the Ravens. John, give me your thoughts on this incredible game, honestly, because it blew away my expectations.
Yeah, I mean, hats off to Anderson. I mean, you look 35 points given up, but I mean, their defense was on the field a long time in the second half. So a great, gritty effort here for Anderson. But Franklin, even despite the record, they do have quite the offense. They do an offense that puts up about 360 yards a game, and you saw exactly there in the second half how powerful that Franklin offense is. And again, one more time, congratulations to Garrett Cora for setting the records at Franklin College today for the rushing and touchdown record.
Time to thank our title sponsors for the fall one final time. We'll begin with Reynolds Farm Equipment, as well as Passion to Care, Boilermaker Local 374, as well as Wheeler Mission, Burtner Electric, the Morales Group, as well as Drumstick Dash and the IndianaSRN Sports Page. Well, for one final time here from Franklin, thank you so much for spending your Saturday afternoon with us. For our entire fantastic HCAC TV crew, John Lester and Cruz Martin saying so long from Franklin, the Grizzlies victorious over the Ravens.
It didn't come out the way I meant it, but
I don't think it was that bad. I didn't even notice it, to be honest with you. I think if I would have turned my head quickly, I think you'd have been in trouble. I think you're all right. I probably